Just lets the ball get in the way of the stroke.
It sounds easy. 17.
David Tom tapping in for his par 4. And he'll remain at 8 under par in the lead by 1. As he moves over to the home hole. The tee just adjacent to the green. And we'll head over just a few yards, really, to the other hole on the other side. The second green. Tiger a little long here, putting for birdie. 67 yesterday. He started with a birdie today. Can he make it 2 in a row? You see a lot of that. The greens aren't precise, or as precise as we're used to seeing in the States. Back to 18.
33-year-old David Tom making the most of his first British Open appearance.
And because of lack of wind, I think you can see a young player who has not played St. Andrews before do well. It really gets quirky and tough, and you really have to know it like the back of your hand when the wind starts to blow.
On the 18th green, VJ joined the group at 4 under. Birdie at the last. VJ had a double, flirted with disaster elsewhere, but he joined Davis Love, Steve Jones. Finished at 4 under par. Also the Argentine Soteris as well. David Toms at 8 under, playing the last, leads by 1.
Nick Price for birdie at the second.
The opportunity set up by a 327-yard drive.
Bernie L's second shot from the right-hand rough at 17.
185, very brave drive. Pretty good lie.
Cut. Sounds like it's going left.
And that ball's in the bunker.
The most famous bunker in golf, the road bunker. Look at that. Got a little camera in there. In the sod wall, the revetted face. And he doesn't have much of a shot. 18.
Dudley Hart second. Good shot. Dudley at even par has bogeyed the last 2, and he's got to be thinking birdie here. Trying to sneak in at 1 under.
That's exactly what you saw with the second shot. Playing aggressively to the hole, coming up a little short.
Bogey for yesterday. Now David Toms, who, when he gets out to a good start, plays well. We've seen it in his past week.
But just the opposite. Dudley Hart, David Toms, because he's not worried about the cut, leading the golf tournament, this should be beyond the flagstick. Keep it away from the Valley of Sin. Little long, little left. Not his best. Anytime you pull a short iron at a sandwich like that, not good.
3-time winner on the PGA Tour. Let's go back to the 17th.
And David Duval second.
He also played his drive down the right-hand side, has 183 yards.
That's actually a pretty good break. So he got a hard bounce and finished on the road, dead over there.
That was really a missed hit there, Ian.
And he's finished a lot luckier than Ernie Els did. Ernie Els will have a spot of bother, you might say, coming out of the road bunker, but Duval's really opened up the flag. We'll leave them there and head over to 3. 397-yard par 4. You don't need driver here. Tiger going with a 2-iron probably.
Trying to take the little grouping of bunkers known as the principal's nose out of play.
You can stay down the right side. It opens up a lot better for the flagstick location, which is kind of tough left. the Millennium Open. It has been something for everyone. David Toms the lead by 1, but Garcia and Flesh right there. We're at the front of the 17th green.
Has the whole green going up there. It's got about 60 feet of green.
Unforced error there, Ruffy. That was not what we'd expect of the number 2 player in the world. 18.
Leader David Toms for birdie.
Back up the hill just a little bit.
So it looks like it'll be a 5-under par round at 67 for Toms, who won at Quad City in 97. 2 wins last year, the International in Colorado and the Buick Challenge in Georgia. And when he has won those events, he has been at or near the top of the leaderboard early on. So when he gets in the lead, he's comfortable being there. British Open's a different story, though. 17.
Now for par, Duval. Going back up the slope a little. Well, he'll make a bogey, but he's still going well. That'll drop him back to 4 under. Now with our sand can, Ernie Els can taste it for you.
Hopefully he has the face laid wide open, shoot it straight up in the air.
A touch of class. Skull and a par putt for Ernie Els after a spectacular bunker shot. You don't see that very often, folks. An up and down from the road bunker at 17. And that will delight the 1,000 or so fans in the huge grandstands there to the right side of the 17th green. We'll head back over to the 3rd. Tiger for his birdie. Big swing from the left. Look at this. Ooh, right across the front of the hole. Tough hole to get it close. 218.
And Ernie comes over to the tee with that big old smile after the up and down out of the road hole bunker. The clock on the storied R&A clubhouse, the aiming point.
Another good example of the way you play St. Andrews, Mike. All the trouble on the right, you have to go to the left. There's always another fairway on the left. You can't go far enough left sometimes, but a lot of times the angle back into the hole location is not as good, but at least you're in the fairway. Now Dave Duval at 18. After just bogey in the 17th hole.
4 under, 4 back. Duval struggled at times yesterday and looked as though the round was going to go the other way on 3 or 4 different occasions. And the fact that he's 4 under for the championship is a testament to his talent. The 3rd.
Nick Price, birdies at 1 and 2. Can he make it 3 in a row? This is a moment ago. So like that, Pricey suddenly gets his interest level up. That puts him at 1 over after a round of 76 yesterday. And now live Woods for par. Played in this championship twice as an amateur. Played here at 95. Made the cut, but didn't distinguish himself. Didn't like links golf when he came over the first time, but has come to love it. He has embraced the different types of shots that you need to hit here.
Steve, that's pretty consistent with everybody that's ever come over here, though. The first time they see links course, they don't like it too much.
Well, it's usually a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, but I think after that you learn to appreciate the nuances and the kicks and the bounces, and this is the way it started.
I was out with Monty this morning, and he was complaining about a bad bounce, and Davis turned to him and said, "As many times as you played here, you should expect good bounces all the time."
As Tiger and company moves to the 4th, let's take a look at the good par 4 4th hole, 464 yards. Once again, a blind tee shot. If you go to the left, and that's the smart play, most of the players will drive over in this area because the right, you see the 2 bunkers that are waiting to catch a ball. But most of the players being a little bit downwind are driving it in this area right here, left with a 4 or 5 iron into the green that is guarded by something a little bit different. Guarded by a huge knob right in front of the green. So you have to carry that or run it to the right or left. This green is pretty flat but slopes from left to right quite a bit. The Dave's hole location, back right.
They'll have a wait on the 4th tee. The group ahead just walking off the tee at the 464-yard hole known as Ginger Beer. Known as Ginger Beer, it's an old chap. Old Mr. Anderson set up a refreshment stand, and they sold beers slightly more potent than ginger beer at the 4th. Good place as you started your round. We come to 18, and Ernie's second.
This is from 80 yards up against the breeze. Breeze freshening just a little.
That's 2 mistakes from the last 2 holes. He avoided disaster at 17, got it up and down from the road hole bunker, but this will be a good up and down, even though it's just a putt.
Duval next.
Tremendous drive from David. He's only 50 yards from the hole.
Ralphie, he has to go down and run it, won't he?
I would think so, yeah. I don't think he has any chance of playing a pitch here.
It's actually the first time we've seen this shot on the 18th hole.
Go. Go. Go.
You heard his caddy Greg Rita right when he made contact. Go. Must have mishit it just a little bit. How simple and how frustrating. Gosh, you hit a shot like that and you want to split your wrist, but it doesn't look very hard, but it is.
It's the number 2 and the number 3 ranked players in the world finding trouble there. This was yesterday as David Duval completed his round, a very long round where the players had a lot of standing around to do, and we'll roll this and show you him making the putt. And watch David Duval go down really low, and he's been bothered by a sore back, and you can see, David is as in shape as anybody out here, one of the most flexible, and just that image, and you saw that on the BBC last night as their 10 hours of coverage was going on, and it just showed us the pain that Duval and discomfort that he is in, but he's not hinting to any troubles with it, not blaming it for any of, I don't want to say lack of success. The guy's 4 under par. But it's just spottiest play compared to what we're used to from him.
He really doesn't want to talk much about it, Mike. I know he's doing a bunch of exercises to kind of get it loose. It's more like a nagging back than anything else, and he's not a guy that uses excuses. I'll say that for him and credit. He's just, I'm out here like everybody else. Everybody else has got a lot of problems, but mine's not that big.
Fortunate that it's warm. Unfortunate that the round takes so long when you tee off later in the afternoon, and as it gets a little bit cooler, there's a lot of standing on tees like we're seeing with the wood group at 4.
And what's also difficult, the ground is so hard, and you're standing on hard ground, that takes a toll too.
And somebody said this week, you better have spikes to walk here. His soft spikes wouldn't make it through the first fairway. It's so hard, the non-metals.
Well, that's a heck of a point, because I always felt like playing the British Open, there was no way you could play without slipping, playing these fairways, because it's cut so tight. It's almost like playing on hard pan.
Ernie Els and David Duval, their third shot here.
Rossi, tough one, huh?
Yeah, very tough, Curtis, especially after you've left it there, If you drove it there, it wouldn't be quite as hard. When you're playing 3, it definitely is tough.
But beautifully done.
As he marks before Duval, let's remind you about the other great event happening on this side of the pond in sports this week. We speak, of course, of the Tour de France, and ESPN coverage continues on ESPN2 tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Watching Lance Armstrong chase the back-to-back Tour de France titles. His big lead continues. Saturday on ABC Sports at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, stage 20. And then on Sunday, they come down to Champs-Élysées in France. You'll see live coverage of the start and finish during ESPN Sunday Sports Day, and complete coverage of the final stage at 7 Eastern on ESPN2.
How big is his lead now?
It's about 5 minutes.
Okay. Which is pretty substantial. Safe. Okay. Plus he falls off.
Usually, those guys are pretty
They
good
don't
about
fall off?
staying on the bike.
Okay.
They've passed that point of their career. Some of the things they practice. Duval third.
David Duval in the same situation Ernie Els was in. This would be a little easier if it was a draw, but this is the third shot. Or if he'd driven it there. You still have the pressure of not wanting to make bogey on the last hole. Well done.
Oh, Els and Duval, short putts to finish at 6 and 4 under respectively. The lead is held by David Toms from Louisiana. Got 5 under today. Back at the 4th, David Gossett, the amateur champ, double on the 2nd, but got it back on the 3rd, Gary.
Yes, that should help settle him down a little bit. Just a slight breeze from the left on this hole after a long wait.
David making a birdie 3. He's back at level par, 1 over for the day.
Just carrying the sand dunes with rough on it. Not a bad position. Flag stick back right.
Now we saw Tiger off the first 3 tees with irons and now into the lumber.
The whole key to St. Andrews is staying away from the pot bunkers because it's a 1-stroke penalty if you put it in there. You did it on the first 3 holes with irons. This is 3 wood. There is a bunker right on the left, 311 yards. That's why he would hit 3 wood.
Avoids trouble in good shape here at the par 4 course. Here's Carl Ravitch with our leader, David Toms. Ravitch.
Okay, Mike, thank you. A couple days ago, David, I walked around with you and Fred Couples for a while, and you had never seen the course, and it was as if Fred never remembered the course. He obviously played well, but right now you're leading. How's that feel?
Well, I played very solid, other than a couple of penalty shots, or I call them penalty shots, but they're pot bunkers yesterday. Other than that, I've just been really solid. Missed one little short birdie putt on 15 today, and other than that, it's just been real solid.
You stood on some tees with me and Fred, and you said, Fred, where do I hit it? And he says, I really don't know. Just hit it. Has that worked for you? I mean, you've been able to avoid some of the pitfalls that are out there.
Well, I think it's my caddy and I really tried hard to figure out where we wanted to go, and we still do it every day. We get up on the tee, figure out how much, where are the bunkers, and how far do we want to hit this tee ball. And it's worked well so far to avoid the trouble.
Obviously, leading the British Open makes any experience over here more enjoyable, but how has the experience of being in Scotland, being at your first British Open, been for you, off the course as well?
It's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, the hotel here is better than I expected. The golf course is just incredible. It's so different than what we normally play, but you learn a lot about yourself, about your patience, and about actually your game. Do I have this shot? Do I have that shot? And because you have to play them all.
I know some of the players have talked about difficulty sleeping. Not a problem for you?
Well, I went to France for a few days before and did that for a reason to get over here and get acclimated to the time change. And so far it's worked well. Once I got to Scotland, I was pretty much back on schedule.
Are you able to, as a player who's had success on tour, reduce a major championship, at least after 36 holes, to just another tournament, or are you beginning to realize that you're at the top of a British Open?
Well, I try to approach it just like all the other tournaments. I know it's difficult to do that, because you have the media attention, you have so many people out here. But then again, it's just golf. It's a different type of golf for me. So still every night when I'm in the bed, I'm laying there, I'm thinking about what I want to do on each hole. And sometimes these holes, they look so similar off the tee, it's hard to even sit there and wonder where you're going to hit it. So I'll do the same thing again tonight, try to go over it in my mind and get some good sleep.
You're surprised at the conditions we've been able to enjoy for the first 2 days, because this, even as your first trip over to the British Open, this is not what it's supposed to be like.
Right. We had 3 different winds, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the first 2 days here, not much wind at all, but at least the same wind. So I've been able to figure out this wind. If it turns around, we're going to have to try extra hard.
Well, good luck. So far, so good.
Thanks a lot.
David Toms in the lead at the British Open. Michael?
Okay, Carl. David Toms on top. David Duval putting for par at the 18th. You saw Duval and Els walk by while Carl was interviewing David Toms. And Duval made a par. We saw Dudley Hart earlier here at the 18th, a couple of groups ago. He did make his birdie to finish with 1 under, so that may get Dudley in for the weekend. His fans back home in the States who are watching. And Ernie also made his par, so An even par round on a day when there's an under par score out there doesn't hurt Ernie Els as much because of his 66 after day one. He's 2 back. Duval is 4 back at the 129th Open.
The conventional wisdom is that to win on the old course, you have to know it intimately. As is the case so often, the conventional wisdom is wrong. Tony Lima showed up here for the 1964 Open only 36 hours before his first round starting time. Nevertheless, he won by 5 strokes. Lima endeared himself to the locals by playing an old-fashioned run-up shot through the Valley of Sin on the last hole. He made the putt for a birdie. Would like it too.
Just after 3 o'clock on the east coast of Scotland. That makes it 10 back on the east coast. And good morning on the west coast just after 7 a.m. And we've already had an eventful day at the 129th Open Championship. Already in our coverage, we've seen a great day from Fred Couples, who shot 68. Even with a double bogey at the 16th, Freddie rolled in 6 birdies on the day and has himself in contention. He's 2 shots off the lead. Flamboyant Spaniard Sergio Garcia opened with a 68. Had 5 more birdies today. Remember, he pulled a chip for an eagle yesterday. Almost did it today at the 10th. Garcia shot 69, and he is just a shot off the lead. Steve Flesh tied with Tiger to start the day after a 67 yesterday. Had a couple of missteps, but an eagle helps the trick on 14. An eagle 3, part of his round of 70. David Toms is our leader. You just heard from the man who shot a 5 under par, 67, a bogey-free round with birdies at 5 and 7 and 9, 11 and 12 as well. Tiger Woods off to a good start today on the first hole. Tiger rolled in a birdie. 8 consecutive pars to start yesterday. A birdie at the first. He's 2 off the lead in the fairway at the 4th. And history will say 77-73 for Jack Nicklaus. But if you watch, you will not remember the score, but the moment. As Jack, perhaps for the final time, seated up in an Open Championship. Here at a place so special to him. So here's how the leaderboard stands. It's Tom's at 8 under, Garcia and Flesh 1 back. We're watching Woods, Thomas Bjorn, who's making a move, the Dane 3 off the lead, John Vandevelde, last year's tragic figure, first page of the leaderboard. Roberts, the winner in Milwaukee, is also 5 under par. And we are joined for the next hour or so by our colleague, Peter Alice. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Mike, and hello to everyone on this glorious day. We'll go to the 4th. And, Tiger Woods, 6 under, his second shot.
Coming in with a 9-iron. Big advantage here to be able to spin the ball downwind.
Well, difficult to say anything other than magnificent. Stone dead, and that's a certain birdie for Tiger. Ahead of 5th, Lee Westwood.
It's a par 5. Everybody can get on. So short. Have to drive it west, left. Keep it left of the bunkers on the right.
Just in a bit of scruffy stuff, but not bad. Third shot now for Price. Into the sand, just got up here. Now his third shot, he's got to struggle to qualify.
Also coming in with a 9-iron.
And good shot too from Price. But Tiger's ball it is. Very close to that. He opened up with a birdie. And I think for a special afternoon, the wind appears to be rising a little bit as the tide tonight is high at 6:45 our time. So things could get a little bit tricky. You see, the old boats are moving along quite sweetly, quite. You don't know what's going to happen with this grand old links here. John Watson, second shot at the 18th, 5 times champion. Still swinging almost exactly the same as he was 20 years ago, with much the same result.
5 times champion in Scotland.
Yep, that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. Still strikes the ball very well, Curtis. Firm and crisp. Up to the 6th now. Lauren Roberts. Now this will test his great putting skills. Well, not bad, but we've seen a lot of short miss today. Towards the end of play last night too. I guess the grass might have been growing a little bit. They got a little bit bristly, almost like a very tight crew cut. Didn't look all that inviting, but they seem to roll quite well. A little bit slow, medium to fast. Nothing frightening about them. Back to the 4th to see Tiger just tap in for another birdie. So he's made the very best of starts. And from other players' point of view, Els had opportunities early on, so did Monk. Neither of them could get away to a good start. Now, before Tiger, this was Price trying for a par. Came here with such high hopes, although he wasn't driving the ball too well, but his irons were good, he wasn't putting too badly. But this is a course where you really need to drive better than a lot of people would have you believe. 5 for Price. 2 over. They're about par. 1 under par might well be the qualifying score. Well, as we look back across the links of St Andrews to the old town, David Toms, first time here for the championship, leads the way, but I wonder for how long. 800 Classic today. Welcome back to a very lazy-looking scene here at St Andrews. Tiger's having a little snack. Everyone's sitting around, and if you're wondering why, well, they're waiting on the 5th tee. There's a big hold up here. 3 or 4 games already piled up here. The reason, this is a par 5 that measures well over 500 yards. But everyone, even your aunt, get on here and 2 today with the ground hard as it is, ball running. So everyone waiting for the green to clear, and it really is a bit painful, Curtis.
My aunt couldn't get here.
Yes, she could.
No, she could.
She could.
She could get on a 3, but not 2.
With one of those clubs that I keep reading that.
Well, there's a couple of reasons why the play is always slow here at St Andrews. One is that, as Peter just said, they can all get on here in 2, but there's crossovers. There's 3 times you have to cross over. You drive in somebody else's fairway and they drive in yours, so you have to wait for the other player to play. And then you have the double greens. People wait. They wait for your opponent to play. And let's take a look at the course. You say the outward 9 is right here, 1 through 7. Go all the way to 6. Then the loop starts right here to 7. And then you go to 8, the par 3, 9, the short par 4. And then back to 10, and you go to 11, the par 3. That crosses with 7 like that. Then you come back to 12, short drivable par 4. 13, remember 6 they drive over in 13, and 13 they drive over in 6. That's a waiting period. Then 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Unique.
It is, and I think the shape of the course there looks like one of those seahorses you see in one of those natural history television programs, sort of bobbing along.
There's the head.
Yeah, down you go.
Yeah.
Always somebody's... Of course, you don't have to drive across onto somebody else's fairway, you know. It's not obligatory.
No,
but they find that the easy way to go.
It's the easy way because all the little pot bunkers are all on the right side, but
and also
this is tough for the players right
it
now.
It is, and also the double greens. If you get the 2 flags within, say, 20 yards of each other, and you've got 2 sets of spectators watching 2 games, and somebody has to wait for somebody to putt because you don't want the other group to hold a putt and get the cheers while you're about to play. There's lots of reasons for the hold-up. I mean, they were saying they were going to get round in 4.5 hours before the championship began. It was just under 6 hours last night, and I personally thought the last 2 groups, whatever they were on the course, the last group certainly finishing in the dark, was quite ridiculous. Because they could have come back this morning and finished the last two, and one of them players dropped 2 strokes in the last 2 holes, and that might make the difference between being here for the weekend or not. But nothing to do with me. Tom Watson at the 18th for a birdie. Come on, Tom. Just at the right edge, and I'm afraid that's the curse of Watson these days, missing from that range. Everything looks pretty well the same. So that could be right on the border, I reckon, level par. Depends how they all go this afternoon. The scoring went up yesterday afternoon, but it could be very tight, and it would be, it's always very hard to miss out by one. The Great Dane, Bjorn, second shot of the night, 5 under.
Simple, flat green. Always felt like there's never any excuse at all not to getting close to this flagstick.
It's a funny sort of green, though, Curtis. It's sort of half hidden away from you. First green now. Corey Harrington at the first, whose experience on these sort of links is very good. 5 under. Very experienced on links course. Comes from Dublin, where there are many fine courses. And would you believe it, beaches equal to this one. You'll notice a lot of the locals keep some clothing on here, even during the warm months. There aren't too many naturists here. And they huddle under the
As opposed
leaves.
to taking clothing off?
Well, they do. Well, some people, I'm told some places in the world, people wear very little strips of clothing when the sun comes out, but I've never seen it myself. Steve Stricker, 1 over, needs to get things going. And has with a good one. Yes. You never know quite when they're going to stop. That's it. 88 players. Even or better, 603. So it's probably going to be 17 ties will be what I don't think it could get better than 143, but you never know. It comes with a rush. So Watson might be 1 too many. That's a bit heartbreaking. Missed by 1. 4th hole now, Nick Faldo for a birdie. Playing alongside Gary Player and Scott Dunlap. 5th now, no to the gay. Just off the greeny 2. This for an eagle, needs to turn right. Too late. Now that was recorded, and now live to see if notice we finished so badly last night, expensively. See if he can get this in for a birdie.
No, to put a second shot in the perfect position. This is the front of the green, and there's a huge swale you have to go through, so you have to miss long if you miss it all. You have to put your second shot beyond the flagstick. It's almost impossible to get it close to the hole.
So Noda 4 behind David Toms. A little cricket on the beach, Peter? Is it the big weekend?
Well, I'm not sure.
Cricket?
Well, I'll tell you what sort of boat ours is a slow tweaker, you see, off the wrist, as they say.
That would be a pickup cricket game. For those of you who haven't seen cricket before. Do they have cricket tonight on ESPN International? No, they don't, but they do have baseball tonight, and it will precede Sunday Night Baseball presented by Gumout. The best 2 in the East, the Mets and the Braves meet on ESPN. Atlanta split the doubleheader. Mets lost again to Montreal, 5 back in the East, and San Francisco and L.A. both putting heat on Arizona, both winners last night. That game will be on ESPN2. So it's a double dip for Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN and in the 70 million homes that have ESPN2. Back to you, Mr. Alice.
Gary, I can't believe it. He's brought the old trousers out again. He's done it. Oh. Well, I'm amazed. I can still get into my old uniform I had when I was doing my national service in 1951, and I thought I was about the only person in the world who could. And those trousers caused a storm here 30, 40 years ago. I wonder if they're a new pair or whether he kept them. Probably kept 28-inch waist. Gee. Lehman at the 5th second shot.
209 yards straight downwind, playing more like about 165. Either has to carry it well short and scoot it up, or land it just on the front and hope it stops within about 80 feet.
Pitched in the dip in front. It's almost like an old railway cutting in front of the screen. Quite deep, very deep in fact. And Tom will be wondering why the folks up at the green aren't excited and clapping about that one. He seemed to strike it well. So he's in the hollow and they have a blind pitch up to the flag. Now Jim Furyk.
This is Jim's third shot. He drove it in the last of the Seven Sisters and just pitched out. Almost exactly the same distance.
And that pitched on top and will go to the back. You'll notice the flag's beginning to move a little bit, freshening up, and they still wait back on the tee. 13 minutes have been already, and I'm sure the RNA committee are mindful of this, but I don't know, under these sort of conditions, because if the wind was against and nobody could reach, then you speed up play, I suppose, but it's just, it's very... Well, Tiger, he started off with a bang at the very first hole, and then this shot on the fourth almost went in for two. He looks very much in control of everything at the moment. Things are just working out absolutely perfectly. It's a beautiful shot. But he's had a long time to think about things on the fifth tee, and he'll have a lot longer to wait before he moves on. Back at the fifth, and Lehman down below the green in the hollow.
Peter, I don't think he has any idea what he wants to try to do here. We've seen an awful lot of players pop the ball from down here, which is a good, 30 yards short of the green. I think that's the best play. I think it's the safest play. You just go ahead and putt it about 15 feet past the hole, and then go ahead and take your chances from there.
Andy, is he in the fairway?
He is definitely in the fairway.
That's by far the best play. I was out there earlier and saw a couple of guys do that and put it up quite close. The fairways are so tight, it's so difficult to get a sand wedge under the ball. There you see him taking a putter out. To get it up under the ball cleanly and stop it. It's just, it's hard to explain. It's like there's very little grass there at all. Very, very tight lies.
It's like playing off the sidewalk.
The good thing is it's a par 5, so even if he does take 3 more from here, he can reconcile himself with knowing that he hasn't dropped a shot. But when you've got an iron into the green, you're looking to birdie. It looked to be a simple birdie 5 minutes ago.
It's very steep right there. Just get up and kill the speed.
Didn't want a lot more, Curtis.
No, just a little bit, but he won't be happy with that.
What are we calling them? They're going to call me when they're ready to play. So, you like me to go ahead then? Just keep going, yeah.
Up to the 12th. Jared Moseley, Australian, 7 under. He's one of those strange players that plays golf around the world and suddenly breaks records, does the most extraordinary things, runs 62s and then he's got a chance to tie the record as we go to Big A. Third shot though at 6. Second shot. Yep, second shot.
This, like the 5, the flagstick right in the front of the green, you have to miss long. You can't afford to play with that swale that fronts the flagstick.
Little bowl. But he'd have seen very little of the green from back there. And you can almost imagine the old players of years ago with their hickory shafted clubs and balls that weren't round, sort of bumbling the ball along the ground, trying to judge the distance of the run on fairways that didn't have as much grass on as these. In some places it might have been thick, in some places thin, and trying to conjure up a feel for the distance.
Well, years ago, Peter, years ago, the rabbits, didn't they breed rabbits to keep grass? That's how they cut the fairways. They had
they had a rabbit war here. They were short of money, and the town sold the land off, and some rabbit breeders came in, much to the annoyance of everybody. And of course, rabbits, Their main diet seems to be grass, which is a pretty boring diet. Westwood now, he's got a putter from umpteen yards away.
Stuff you just don't see in the States.
Yes, it's an entirely different form of golf, and you've got to tune your mind into it. This is what we're doing this week, and we'll get on with it and do our best, and whoever does the lowest score will go home the champion. And he'll be mighty pleased. And look at this thing. Don't get many of those in a dozen. Well, Judge.
And fun to watch, too. It's fun to watch the guys. You know, it's not... You're working hard on the golf course, and sometimes you don't have a whole lot of fun, but when you look back at some of the shots you had to play and some of the shots that demanded, get a chuckle out of it later on.
Well, Westwood needed that because you can see he dropped a couple of shots already. Now, this is Furyk at the 5th. For a birdie, long way away, as you can see. One of the many master putters around now. Has he given it enough? He has no. Sandy Lyle in the foreground. And the weather continues to be absolutely wonderful, but the flags are starting to stretch out a little bit. Fortunately for the players, it's been in the same direction the last couple of days. Jared Moseley made that birdie at the 12th, so he now is at 8 under, tied with David Toms, but David is safely tucked back in the clubhouse, which is pretty handy.
2.5 hours into our 6 hours of coverage here on day 2 of the 129th Open Championship. Our coverage presented by MasterCard. We're at the Old Course, St. Andrews in Scotland. Ian Baker Finch, the 91 British Open champion, and British amateur champ Steve Melnick have rejoined us here in the booth. Peter Allis is spending his hour with us today. Peter breaks away from the BBC's 10.5-hour coverage on Thursday and Friday. We go over to the 5th.
And Mark O'Meara just taking his tee shot there. Just bobble along. Look at that, down past the March Stone. Center of the fairway. Perfect. Ahead 1-6.
Nota Begay going back up the hill. Very nice. 7-5 finish yesterday destroyed what was a superb opening round. Not that 69 is bad, but when you back up and look how it was finished off, probably made for a long supper. To 5.
Tom Lehman here at the 5th, putting for a birdie 4. This 568-yard par 5 with the big bank in front. The players land it short and try and run it up onto the green.
Yes, he was perhaps a little unfortunate there, Ian, to stick in the valley, and then he wasn't quite strong enough with his putt out of the valley. And but he's still going to get a 5. That's not disastrous.
And we go forward to the par 3 11th, Dennis Paulson. You can always tell Dennis he's the one with the little goatee beard and the bright shirts. And 5 under par for the Chief. 3 behind the leaders. The old Tommy Bahama shirts. I tell you what, they're doing well out here. Now back at the 8th, a little more of me. This looks like Craig Parry. Little Australian, nice guy, putts well. And had a chance to win last year here at the Open Championship, and I think he'll win the Open before his day's done. We all talk about good players on tour that haven't won a tournament yet, and I think this guy should be up in the top 5. He's had a few second places on the United States Tour. A couple of times he's challenged here at the Open, challenged at the Masters in 1992 when Freddie Couples won. But struggling here a little at 2 over par. And Craig is a good putter, but he's putting with the boss of the Moss. And how's he doing out there, Rossi?
Well, he's brushed in a couple of 12-footers the last 2 holes, and this one about 15 to 18, I guess.
I would think he'd have a pretty good chance to make it because the other two have putted on the same line. So he's gotten a good teach.
Lauren Roberts shot 24 under par last week in Milwaukee. Won the tournament by 8 shots from Franklin Langham. 16 under par normally wins most tournaments, but not last week. A little bit different here, though. Different style of golf course, you might say.
It is. That's, you know, that's all part of life. You don't, if you don't travel, you don't learn. You don't experience things. That sort of wobbled a bit, didn't it?
Yes, not really struck confidently or firmly, was it? Craig and Lauren playing alongside the Scotsman Gary Orr, who's also a couple under par. Lauren Roberts with a 6 under. Let's go ahead to the 13th.
Jared Mosley here at the par 4, his second shot. And making the smart play back out into the fairway. That's the Coffins. Those bunkers are aptly named here at the par 4. It only takes a few wayward drives at the wrong place to force players to play backwards. A lot of players say, well, the bunkers are unfair. Well, without 112 bunkers out there strategically placed or randomly placed, depending on how you look at it, the old course on a day like today would be a pushover. All 112 bunkers have been refaced or revetted as we go back to 5.
And still waiting here. 5th tee. Tiger Woods there. Steve Williams, his caddy.
Make sure you guys put on sweaters.
Well, there's a little bit of breeze coming in off the sea. You'll notice that hanging around there, players, some of them have put on some extra clothes. And when the sea's on the turn, which it is now, and the wind starts up, you get quite a chill factor, which is a relatively new term. But the wind chill factor.
It's 28 minutes. Peter, on the tee there so far.
We've all played in bits and pieces over the years that have taken a long time, whether it's the old Canada Cup matches, I know 7 hours, 20 minutes once in a while. But there was coconut punches every sort of 3 holes, and by the time you got to the end, you didn't care what time it was.
To the 6th.
Lauren Roberts, perhaps the most generous landing area on the course. That is actually the 9th hole, which is also a very generous landing area.
If you take that bunker in the middle of the fairway and put it out of place, Steve. That was a perfect shot from Lauren.
Stand still, lad, please. Stand still.
One of the problems of televising golf from St Andrews is everything looks pretty well the same. There are no spectators allowed in the middle of the course, so they're around the outsides. That's what makes this such a quirky place. And with all the tents and things that have been put up, landmarks that we players used to go by years ago have now disappeared. Things like railway signals and all bits and pieces, telegraph poles and so on. They've all been obliterated. The gorse bushes have grown a little bit, and everything looks pretty well the same. So it's very difficult for the cameraman. You're going up one hole and people are coming down the others, and the flags are within 15 or 20 yards, and you've got 2 matches, people wearing the same sort of clothes. It's you've got a run of golf to the right there as we look back up the old course, golf to the left over the top of the exhibition tent. It's just a conglomeration of everything. I think they almost sort of like, well, play where you like, let's hole out wherever you fancy, and we'll add it up at the end when you think you've played 18 holes.
Peter, is there less heather now than, say, 30 years ago?
Yes.
There was heather, patches of heather everywhere.
They were on the banks now on the left as we swing round where the spectators are coming through. The gorse has managed, this prickly stuff here has managed to maintain its hold on the course, but you can see there aren't many trees about, and the locals walk sort of bent over a bit from the wind off the sea, but there used to be big patches of heather, particularly at holes like the 12th, which many of them are driving today because the conditions are such, but on the left and right of the of 30 or 40 yards short, you could get into Big Heather. Tiger now.
And that was a pretty good swish at that after a 30-minute wait. Look at that bounding through. That'll probably finish just in the left rough. A little bit more cushion to play with. Ideal position. This really just playing like a par 4. In fact, it averages a lot easier than the par 5, I should say the par 4 17th, which is really like a par 5. Ahead at 12.
Dennis Paulson playing his second shot. No surprise, 314 yards. Paulson gave it a good run. Look at this. That'll be a birdie 3 for Dennis Paulson and move him onto the first page of the leaderboard at 6 under par. Paulson, a former national long drive champion, taking advantage on the holes where you can let it all go. And Paulson, 2 behind our leaders.
Well, a young fella there. Have you ever tried running on a beach? I really don't recommend it if you're slightly overweight. It's very tiring, but he seems to have nifty footwork. But Mum's keeping him at bay. Young Rivaldo. That's the name on the back of his shirt, one of the most famous soccer players around. Up to the 9th.
After 352-yard par 4, let's see what Lauren Roberts has for his second.
He's got 105 yards in there into the breeze, not breeze maybe 10 miles an hour. He's got a little 9-iron.
One of only 9 players to play in the States at the Greater Milwaukee Open last week. And come over for the British. Obviously not going to replicate the conditions at Brown Deer Park when you come to St. Andrews, but Lauren Roberts, the confidence of hitting good shots and putting the ball very well, just 2 off the lead. A birdie chance coming. 2-11.
And this is Darren Clark putting for a birdie 2. And Darren Clark, who won the Anderson Consulting World Match Play Championship at La Costa this year from Tiger Woods, is only 4 back.
Again, very experienced at links golf. Had a family home overlooking Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. Wonderful course, and learnt his trade by the sea. And there you see the waves start to come in, and behind, Fred Funk.
And back on the tee, Fred Funk with a 7-iron. His famous caddy, Benny Sunison, who won here with Nick Faldo in 1990.
Record score, 18 under.
I played with him the last day, Peter. He played beautiful golf. He was so focused. I learned a good lesson from him.
Yes, he's trying to get back on track. I'm not sure the old fizz and power are still there, but perhaps they're not far away.
Patrick Sholand now, second to play.
He won a couple of weeks ago over in Ireland, but 2 over. He can afford no mistakes and need some birdies between here and the clubhouse.
He actually started the day 4 over, Peter, so he's not playing too badly today. Just a couple under par. Also going with the 7-iron. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that's dead. Oh, save.
Saved by the wire.
That's going to be a very fast little putt or chip or bump and run from there for Sholand. Bogey at 10. Really stopped his run. 3 under on the way out. Back to 6.
Sandy Lyle now for par. Dramatically improved his golf swing, and I think he's giving him a little renewed confidence, because for years he didn't know which end of the club to hold. And now Sandy's got to worry about the cut today. If the wind picks up, it may get to even par. An hour ago, we might have said under par was in the cut. The Open champion at Lytham, Tom Lehman for birdie now. Lehman came to the last hole last week at Loch Lomond with a chance at a victory and hooked his tee shot in the water, made double, cost him the championship. Peter, you were there, were you not?
I was, yes. It was very unlike Tom. He was 40 yards offline, 50 yards offline. He He wanted a 4 to tie with Ernie Els, but there were 6 or 7 players in with a shout over the last 5 holes. It was very exciting.
Strangely, he has missed the cut in his past 2 open trips.
Been having trouble with his driving. I always thought Tom was a very sound driver and a bit of a shaky putter. But over the last few weeks, he's saying his driving's got a bit wayward, and the putting's not been bad.
Now here at 13, this is Mosley for par. Played a nice iron. This long par 4, bunkered off the tee. So he will drop a shot and move back to 7 under, 5 under on his round today. Quite a nice move. And at 6, Mr. Furyk, a man whom many thought would be a factor here. In fact, among the betting favorites for those who really looked at his open record. It has been very solid over here. Furyk, whose style of play is a perfect fit for playing over here in the Open, was 4th, 4th, and 10th the last 3 years. Drives the ball incredibly straight, really handy from about 5 feet in. Like that. Furyk moves to 4 under. Well, after the first round, Mr. Woods, who began the week at 15 to 8, dropped to 6 to 5, and Els, off that great opening round of 66, dropped to 7 to 2. And the rest of the field kind of bunched up there as we go to 5.
Tiger's second shot.
Coming in with a 7-iron after a very big tee shot.
And that's one of the problems with going in with such a short iron. Would have been better if he could have tried to chase one in, because he couldn't fly it on. It would have run through to the back of this huge green, but he's actually carried it just short and didn't get the kick forwards. Ahead to 9.
Lauren Roberts. Ooh, that was to get within 1 of the lead. Flat green. He had made a birdie putt at the 1st and the 4th and the 7th. You can see he thought he could have had one there and gotten it to 7 under. Roberts stays 2 behind David Toms. Out in 3 under 33. Brush, rated. Back to 5.
And an interesting thing here at the 5th is that Mark O'Meara and his group called Tiger on to the green here. They're still on the green, waiting to putt out, just to try and speed up play a little bit.
I think that's a very sensible thing to do. And there are 2 or 3 holes like that round here. They can drive the 12th, 9 or 10 if you choose. You can nearly drive those as well.
And this is Fred Funk, putting for a 2 at the 11th. Even par. And he moves to 1 under. Started the day there. Even par on his round today. Some birdie holes coming in though. Straight driver of the ball. He just needs to avoid the bunkers.
It's a hard run in once you get on the 13th tee here. No matter where the wind is, if you finish in all 4s, you've done very well.
Now back at 5. Ulrich Johansson. Playing alongside Mark O'Meara. And Imano from Japan, Yoshinaro. This for a birdie 4. This green is an 1.5 acres in size. The 5th. Next to 2 greenkeepers here, walking with the push mowers, walk behinds. An 1.5 hours to cut this green. It shares with the 13th. I hit an 8-iron there one day from the front to the back into the wind. Didn't reach the back of the green.
Well, they walk about 7 or 8 miles when they cut that green, you know.
Unbelievable. Tom still leads, but Woods is charging up from behind. Just 1 back. We're back at the 5th, par 5, and Tiger short of the green in 2.
Almost the identical shot that Tom Lehman had.
Going with a putter up a significant slope.
have something for every occasion. But every sort of shot, delicate ones, they don't always come off, but I think he plays a most wondrous variety. And the way he thinks his way around the course is probably as good a club as he's got in his bag.
Now, David Gossett, the young amateur, is on the green in 2, and he has a long putt for an eagle 3. Just have a look at the length of that putt. That's at least, well, what do you say, Gary? 30 yards, 40 yards?
I can't see that far.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about your eyesight. He's still going.
He had one of those energy bars on the last tee.
Look, there's the 13th flag. Red flags on the way home, yellow flags on the way out. He'll get someone to try and wave the flag above the head to let him know where the hole is.
See, this can slow down play. If someone was actually playing the 13th at this moment, he might wait for the balls to come up on the green just in case one flies by him when he's about to putt. You don't see many backswings as long as that with a putter either.
Yeah, this is definitely a full pivot. Get the weight back to the right side.
See, people play these with a 4-iron, you know. It's not a bad club to use, and like a long chip and run with a 4-iron.
Yes, I think the guys that are using those very short putters now, the 30 and 31-inch putters, they'd struggle on putts that long.
Well, he certainly got the line here.
Not bad. They're only about 12 feet by. From over 100 feet. This hole is averaging 4.6 today. There's been 3 eagles, 49 birdies. Oh, and the 4 amateur players. David Gossett leading those 4. Mika Ilonen from Finland.
Ilonen, yeah,
Ilonen.
he's the Finnish amateur champion. Quite remarkable when you think the British amateur champion now from Finland, where I guess they only play golf 5 months in the year, but they travel around, and a lot of them go to Spain for the winter, and he's a very competent-looking player.
Current cut line, 1 under par, 70 players plus ties make that cut. Now Nick Price also for a 3. Coming from a similar line to David Gossett, so he could learn something perhaps. Players always try and get to the line as quickly as they can to watch the player before them, see if they can learn something. That'll be a tap-in birdie for Nick. We'll leave that group for a minute and head forward to Thomas Bjorn at the 11th, putting for a birdie 2.
This fellow's a good ball striker. Inconsistent, though. He's sometimes have rushes of blood with the putter. He hits them so hard. I mean, he's one of the rare breed that good putters that can take 3 from about 5 feet. You know, smashes it at the hole. Which is not always the thing to do.
Tom's always amazed me because he has this, I think it's a Yorkshire-style accent for someone from Denmark. He has this strange English dialect that I could never really figure out.
Watch a lot of old black and white Charles Lawton movies.
Well, his wife is a Swede, and they split their year between Dubai and London. So he's got
He had a strange mixture.
a majority of dialects going.
Lee Trevino in this group. It was very nice to see the past champions challenge the other night. He was 80 yesterday. But the thousands of fans came to cheer him. It's a level par for today.
4 times in the top 3 here at the Open Championship. Yesterday was his highest score, Peter, an 80.
Yeah, the greens aren't faster. They're certainly, there hasn't been a putt that's been frightening in any shape or form. And with this wind and sun, I would have thought they could have quickened up a bit.
Well, our weekend coverage on ABC Sports will begin tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Live on the West Coast at 7 a.m. Pacific with you for 4.5 hours. And then Sunday we start at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. final round coverage, the weekend coverage of the British Open. As always, the summertime tradition continues. You see it on ABC Sports. Back to 5.
Nick Faldo, second shot.
The record holder here, 18 under when he won the championship 10 years ago, and that's not got a hop.
You can see there Nick Price, Tiger Woods, David Gossett, that group calling that group through like Mark O'Meara did for Tiger. I don't know whether it really helps out. It's more, as was suggested by the players coming home, they need to get a move on so these guys can also finish before dark. Scott Dunlap now. Disastrous double bogey at the second. Scott Dunlap back to 2 under, started the day 4.
Another one killed in the valley. You've almost got to play a sort of trick shot here, I think, today. From that sort of range, you might just as well take a 2-iron or even a 1-iron and just sort of bump it virtually along the ground. Get it on the ground within 30 yards of where you're standing and let it, you might just as do that, if you're going to finish up in the front.
Now Gossett after that long range first putt. Little work to do here. Pretty quick putt from here, right to left. I think he would be really enjoying this experience, playing alongside the 94 winner, Nick Price, and of course with Tiger. Plenty of time to spend out there chatting too with all these delays. Disappointing. And just to give you some sort of perspective on how long it is taking out there in this area of the course, since they walked off the 4th green, he's just about to putt out 52 minutes.
Well, they've been 2 hours since they drove off the first. They're 2 hours and they haven't completed 5 holes. Starting time was 2 o'clock here.
All these players put a sweater on while they waited to tee off at 5. That keeps the top of the belt line, the kidneys, the muscles around there a little looser, a little warmer. Allow you to still coil and turn behind the ball when it's your turn to play. Now Tiger, after that spectacular little run up the bank from about 30 yards, has this for a 4. This to tie the lead at 8 under. Well, he really has had a marvellous round so far. I mean, it's spectacular ball striking, and 2 or 3 putts have missed that could quite easily have gone in. Woods now 3 under par after 5 holes, tied for the lead at the top at 8 under.
We're back out at the 6th, a 412-yard par 4 that, believe it or not, folks, he has a chance to get it very close. Remember, the greens were rock hard. The joke early in the week was that the fairways were stimping around 10. And it just rolls on and on and on and slides just through the end of the crosswalk. So Tiger Woods exactly where he would like to be, at the top of the leaderboard, tied with David Toms on a day that has seen some terrific scoring. Davis, Love, and Caceres, the low round of the day, at 66. And Tiger 3 under through 5.
Well, while we have a second, Steve, let's thank Peter Alice for joining us. He's back to the BBC, which is on for another 4.5 or 5 hours. We'll see you in our ABC shows tomorrow and Sunday.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. Peter Alice covering or playing in 50 British Opens with the 2000 Millennium Open here at St. Andrews. And welcome back the man who holds the course record here, Curtis Strange. And do you feel a freshening breeze as you pop your head outside for 2 seconds?
Not much at all. It is not doing, it's doing the same thing it's been doing. It's coming off the sea, 5, 6, 7 miles an hour. It's really not a factor right now. The factor is when you go back into it, it's easier to stop your ball, but still downwind. It's so hard. It's so firm. It's hard to control your ball once you hit the fairways. You just saw Tiger Woods' tee shot run, 40 or 50 yards. Now, he drove it so close to the 6th green, but has a very, very tough second shot to get it close to the hole because the flagstick is just over a knob. So that's part of the beauty and the toughness, the challenge of St. Andrews.
Yesterday, the scoring was 72.99, so really 73. Shot over par. Today, it's 71.7. So yesterday, it was very good scoring conditions for an Open at St. Andrews, and today, it's playing 1.2 shots easier. Back to 6.
Price, tee shot on the way.
Price with a new driver today.
In his prime, I don't know that there was a better long driver of the ball than he, until some guy named Woods came along. Now at 13, a man who has made a late charge. This is Phil Mickelson for birdie to move 4 under par. He eagled the par 4 12th. And he's gone birdie, eagle, birdie in the last 3 holes, and suddenly he's at 4 under par. Absolutely perfect day for golf and for spectating at this freest stretch of links land here. It is stunning to see. 2-8.
Jim Furyk also playing well on the tee here at the par 3. This hole today, 162 yards, back into the breeze a little. 6 iron.
Furyk just missed a short make-will birdie on the last. Just carried just over that bunker, short of the green, should release right down to the hole. Most of the players going right, a little bit safer, a little larger portion of the green.
And Steve Melnick mentioned earlier what a great start to his British Open career he's had. We watched Sandy Lyle. Sandy's gone through so many swing changes since he hasn't played well for a number of years now, but we'll see if he does what he's been doing for a number of months. He's had pauses at the top of the swing.
Curtis Sandy's just coming off of one of the greatest pars I've ever seen at 7. Drove it in the course to the right, pitched out onto the 10th green, then got it up and in from there. So he is struggling with this swing.
Has been struggling for a long while, and Curtis, he does pause, especially on the longer irons and the driver, just about every time now. It's almost like a little hitch in the swing. Back at 6.
The second shot here at this par 4 is in all likelihood going to be played with something that's going to run the ball onto the green. See the shelf there in front of the flagstick? It's about 3 to 4 feet below the level where the hole is actually cut. And you have to run it short. There it is. Thanks, Curtis. And let it feed its way back up slope to the flag, just like that. A wonderful example of the subtle nuances here is the old course's way to make you think your way around. Play shots that you would never even practice at home. But you can't practice at home because the firmness of the ground is not possible to do so. I always wonder why Curtis guys come over to play Loch Lomond last week. That's not links golf. That's American golf.
Well, they come over last week is just to get ready for the time, or get used to the time change. I always felt like to really play well in the British Open, you had to come over before Sunday night, get here before Monday morning on the all-night flight. It's just tough to acclimate your body and yourself and get over jet lag in 2.5 to 3 days.
As we watched David Gossett, we put him on the spot during a practice round and said, might we see you play amateur golf the rest of the year? And there was this long pause.
Well, Steve, you talk about this hole being one way you can hit lots of different shots. In the practice rounds, we saw Ernie Els use a putter from about 70 yards and hit it to about 2 feet. So we may see some different things here.
Well, that's what makes it so interesting, Gary. Yardage, as we said yesterday, really doesn't mean a whole lot. It's just sort of one of about 4 or 5 variables that you put into your shot selection.
Well, that's true, and it's very different from the United States. Curtis made the point yesterday. So often in the States you don't want to go long, whereas here it's not always a bad thing.
So Gossett, who's gone well left here at the 6th.
He's only got 114 yards to the hole. but it's extremely fast, and playing downwind, you can't help but get the feeling that the ball could bounce anywhere.
Taking the high route. Oh, it just didn't carry up.
49 at the bottom. 59 top. 689 hole.
And that's not something that you can learn in a couple of days over here.
Yeah.
And now Price next, Jerry.
Just 70 yards. I mentioned that he had a new driver in the bag. It's not one of those. It's not a new thingamajigger. It's just the same manufacturer that he normally uses.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the play. The other one is holding the spin on it. The other one.
It'll kick in the face.
Yeah.
No bars on his card.
He's going with a sand wedge, trying to pitch it into the bank.
See? And the fans know that's not a bad shot. It's not as good as it might look, but the fans appreciate that.
You know, Steve, that's a great point. When you play over here, they know what it takes to get close to the hole, and you might think it was a very average shot, 20 or 30 feet from the hole, but that's the best they've seen all day long, and they clap. And they're very appreciative, very knowledgeable fans.
Gary, choice of clubs?
Well, it is a putter from 57 yards, and that's what's so much fun about this championship. Putting down a fairway that's as fast as a racetrack. Might be faster than the green.
I don't think we need that window meter right there at 8.6 miles an hour on this shot.
And a hush makes its way through the crowd.
Not bad, not good, but not bad. The one place he had to keep from doing is coming up short. He had to miss long.
Up ahead at 14.
And a mobile phone went off there in the middle of his backswing. Jared Mosley had that to tie the lead. We'll be back shortly to see Jared Mosley there at 6 under par, just 2 behind.
As the fans continue to watch, Tiger Woods leading this championship for the second time. He shared the lead at 5 under yesterday, shares it with David Toms at 8 under par. And as we watch Tiger, Jared Mosley was at 8 under and tied for the lead, but bogeyed 13 and just made bogey at 14. So Mosley's made back-to-back bogeys after 3 birdies in a row. So he goes from the top of page 1 to the top of page 2, 2 back. You see the names like Van de Velde, Azinger, Duval, Mickelson, Love, and Lehman getting in line. All those players within a few of the lead. Back to our co-leader at the 6th, and Steve Melder.
All right, Mike. Tiger came over the first of last week and played in a Pro-Am in Ireland, then stayed over and did a lot of fishing and played some of the great Irish courses, one of which is Royal County Down, where ABC and ESPN will be next week for the Senior British Open. And it is one of the great courses in the world. But here at the 6th, Woods going back up the slope, long attempt at birdie. He has been flawless, not just today, but since the first hole the first day. No bogeys. 8 under. You know, he plays the game as though nothing is left to chance. He is so incredibly organized and prepared, and his game is complete. He has 20 tour wins now, and he's the youngest player ever to win 20 events at the age of 24. Nick Price. It has been an up and down day. 4 birdies, 1 bogey. And no par. Until here. First par on 6. We watched him win at Turnberry in a dramatic finish. Jesper Parnevik was overtaken in the last few holes by Nicky. Great eagle at the 71st hole. Up ahead at 11.
Lauren Roberts for birdie. Pretty makeable effort here too, I would think. 6 under par.
You know, Lauren has the game to be there late Sunday afternoon. He drives it straight, able to avoid some of these pot bunkers in the fairways, and as we'll talk so many times, he's such a good putter, and he's on a roll after winning last week by a large margin. The wind comes up, might be a very tough golf course for him because of his length off the tee, but if it stays like this, he certainly can make as many birdies as anybody else when he gets on a roll.
Surprisingly, Curtis, his best finish at the Open Championship was at Lytham. He finished a tie for 18th in 5 starts, 5 previous starts to this one.
Hit it, man. Hit it.
That says it all. And that'll be a par 3 for Roberts. He'll remain at 6 under. Now, Phil Mickelson has gone birdie, eagle the last 2 holes, birdie, eagle, birdie the last 3 holes, and has that for another birdie. Back at 6.
Tiger with just that left for par. The U.S. Open win gives him 7 USGA titles, trying to add the Open Championship, the Grand Slam in sight. He's tied for the lead at 8 under, and all the world watches.
Tiger on the 7th tee. This is where the famous loop starts. 4 short par 4s, 2 par 3s, the only 2 at St. Andrews.
Using a middle iron off the tee.
What's that, Gary? 4 holes with an iron off the tee thus far today?
That's right. He hasn't got the big stuff out much so far.
And just rolls down in, but will disappear from sight for a moment as has to watch. We're going to see a lot of that this week, rolling into divots as players keep hitting it into the same areas, the same landing areas, with balls forced there by the turns in the ground. All right. 7 from above.
7. Downwind, not a hard hole today. You just saw Tiger keep it out to the left. Just an iron over this sand dune right there. The players are just keeping it right in this position right here with 3 woods irons, because this is what they don't want any part of. That's a huge, deep bunker fronting the front of this green. There's another big swale right in the front of this green where the players are trying to put it is in that area. Today's hole location, back center, very accessible. Pretty easy hole location. First 2 days on this hole.
4 of the 6 holes on the loop are playing under par, so these are chances to keep a good round going or make something happen. Nick Price
going with a 3-wood.
Well, we said starting out, Mike, that these holes are the easiest holes because there's a little bit of breeze following and out of the right. They're not the toughest of holes. Where it gets tougher is when you make the loop and start back at 12, or actually 13.
At 9, Tom Lehman's second shot.
That was from 112 yards back into the breeze. Able to control the distance because he knows he can stop it playing back into the wind.
Lehman at 4 under, made a birdie on 7, even par for the round. 2 threes thus far here on the loop. 87 when Curtis shot the course record, birdied every hole on the loop. 6 birdies in a row. We saw players go through and turn their round around here, including Tiger yesterday. A series of 3s. When you think of the golf course, you know of 1 in 18, the shared fairways, the problems that await at the road hole 17, but the loop is very often what could put somebody in position to be a factor at the end of the day or the week. 12 is a 314-yard par 4, and Lauren Roberts hits.
shot.
Yeah.
I don't think Lauren can drive it on this green.
And the way the wind is now, Curtis, he definitely can't. It's coming out of the left. It's not really behind at all.
That's very nice shape. Just a little bump and run up to the face of the green. Probably 25, 30 yards. There you go. 25, 30 yards short of the surface.
14.
Now, Phil Mickelson. Birdie, eagle, birdie, birdie. At the 14th. And Mickelson moves to 5 under. 5 under for the tournament. 5 under on his round today. Back at 6.
Faldo, second shot. He's very clever at shots like this. We talked about it a moment ago. The options you have. Try to land it short. Ooh, careful. All right. Nicely done. Kind of played it into the slope. Mike talked about a session with Sam Snead that Faldo thinks may have given him second life. So quit worrying about mechanics. Just go play golf. Put the club on plane and just go play. 3 times a champion here. Tied with Nicklaus for most sub-70 rounds.
To Jared Mosley at the 15th, the par 4. Back-to-back bogeys, trying to turn it back in the right direction with a long birdie putt here. He's not been a pro very long. Won the Heineken Open in Perth in 1999, just a year and a half after turning pro. Limited major championship experience for Mosley. This is just his second. He played in this championship last year and missed the cut. 2-7. Where there was a wait because of 11T. This is the other part of the delay game that happens here, the crossovers.
Well, as Tiger and company moves to his ball, that exactly where they are right now is where 11. You shoot over to the green to the right. There we go, the double green with 11 and 7. And that is some large green. You know, years ago, we were here for the Walker Cup in 75, and a bunch of us came out and tried to putt from one end to the other. You just can't hit it hard enough. You can't get it there. It's like, oh, I don't know how far it is, 120 yards, 130 yards, something like that.
Curtis, I was reading that some fellow in 1987 here with the last name beginning with S began a string of 6 consecutive birdies at this hole and went on to shoot a 62. Wouldn't be you by any chance, would it?
Well, I was just trying to win my match. I had a lot of fun that day. We actually played in the Dunhill Cup, and I was playing against Greg Norman that day in a consolation match and got it going, and couldn't have had it happen on a better golf course. I'm very, very proud of and was really excited about doing something like this on the last hole. And as you see, Tiger's shot, that's what happens. You have little areas that funnel down into. As you see, it looks like a hole left from a bomb or something. I don't know. It's a little gravity pit. Because of that, so many balls get in there, and look at all the divots. He's fortunate that the flagstick is well beyond the slope in the front of the green in the back, so he can come in there low and still maybe get it close to the hole. Put it back in your stance, beat down on top of it. Catch the ball first.
Short little stabby follow through.
Right.
Good shot from there.
Not much to add to that. There is the crisscross we're talking about, why Woods and company waited here at 7.
Well, this is the tee shot back in here on 7. You drive it in this position, 11 coming this way. And as we said yesterday, the holes that are on the 11th, the groups that are on the 11th hole have
right of way.
Right of way.
You guys are good enough. You're not going to hit anybody. Just, let's go. Let's play.
Well, you know, on everyday play, that's true. But you have, gosh, how many thousands of people out here watching, and they're in the crosswalks in that area as well, so you have to wait for them to clear.
Back at 6.
Faldo for birdie. Well, it's going hard. Ooh. The hole got in the way. Very nice indeed. With poor play, I think came a little more charm to 7.
Nick Price a little bit closer to the hole.
Just a little flip with the sand wedge from about 60 yards. Perfect lie.
Woods, Gossett, Price. 3 birdie attempts there. Nick Price, fabulous ball striker, but the Advil Western Open earlier this month missed drives in the 16th, 17th, 18th, and in the playoff. The reason he did not win, Tiger Woods was the 99 Western champ, 2000 British Open championship on his mind now.
The two best golfers of the 1980s dueled for the Open title on the Old Course in 1984. Tom Watson and Seve Ballesteros were tied for the lead. The epic 17th, the road hole, was critical. Seve hit that slanted green and made his par, but Watson let a 2-iron shot drift right. A bogey followed. Ballesteros then birdied the 18th hole and gave us his personal definition of the thrill of victory.
That, by the way, the highlights of today's coverage, that'll start right after SportsCenter this evening. We come back to Tiger at the 7th to take the outright lead. We'll stay at 3 under for his first 7 holes. Still no bogeys on the scorecard. Staying away from trouble.
Wouldn't that be nice every time you go to the golf course, you have just about 4 guaranteed birdies out there with the par 5s because of your length, and you make very few mistakes to make any bogeys. That'd be nice.
Before Tiger, Nick Price to get the level par. You say that there are only 2 par 5s here at St. Andrews, but with the short par 4s, most days it'll give Woods an opportunity that is not too dissimilar from the par 5 opportunities he has on a more standard course with 4 5s and 4 3s. Well, David Gossett to try to get back to even. Gossett started the day 1 under. When he won the amateur at Pebble, he won his final 36-hole match 9 and 8. Up 9 with 8 to play is something pretty special in the 36-hole final. Have work left to par there. 14.
Darren Clark for a birdie 4 here at the par 5. As you suggested, Mike, only 2 par 5s in this golf course. 2 5s, 2 3s, 14 4s. Par 72, 7,115 yards. Back at the 7th.
And Nick Faldo on the tee. 4 under, 4 back. Earlier we mentioned Jack Nicklaus as he finished, and in that same group was Mark James, who's been a part of the controversy in Europe. Nick Faldo's been the one who's come out of that as the fan's hero, if you will. And Nick said he's heard supportive roars from the crowd as he's walked around this week, and it's heartened him. He's paying attention. Price makes his par. One over. Figure needs to make a couple more birdies on the way in. Still plenty of time. And obviously avoid the mistakes.
It does look like 1 under par right now. It's like all the evens should start packing.
It was Sung Yoon Kim who Gossett defeated at Pebble Beach in the U.S. Amateur. Finished tied for 54th as he made the cut. It was a part of the Masters weekend. Missed the cut at the U.S. Open. And that will be what he strives for over the next 2.5 hours. Took the last group last night, 5 hours and 58 minutes to play their final round. The last putt dropped at 9:58:45. A minute and 15 seconds before 10 o'clock, and it was dark. Many people were enjoying dessert at that time. At the par 4 12th, Lauren Roberts for birdie. He's had a couple of opportunities and makes it count at 12. 7 and 9, he almost made birdie. Makes one here at 12, and he's 7 under, one back.
And remember, he's no stranger to this position. You know, lost a playoff at Oakmont back in '93 to Ernie Els. Colin Montgomery was also in that U.S. Open playoff. So he's been here before.
Ian Baker Finch calls the 8th.
And the group with Tiger Woods about to get ready here at par 3. First par 3. I'm not really sure whether they call 7 the start of the loop or 8, but 8 changes direction. You go out to 7 and then 8 sort of starts back, 9 that direction, then 10, 11 back again, and then it's a really fun part of the golf course. I know that.
162 into the wind, Ian. That was a 7-iron.
Just a normal swing or a little knockdown into that breeze? What sort of shots are you playing? Gary probably can't hear me there. There's a few people watching Tiger. Let's take a look at Tiger's shot as he looks back at the other two players. Curtis, little knockdown.
Well, he hits a lot of those back into the wind. It would be advantageous to keep it down a little bit, control the distance. Little leg drive. Look at the down and through. Does it better than anybody else.
And Tiger Woods atop the leaderboard with David Toms at 8 under par.
Phil Mickelson's got it going. Birdie at 11, eagle at 12, birdie at 13, birdie at 14. How about one more? Birdie at 15. 6 under the last 5 holes. Phil Mickelson's gone from a shot away from making it to the weekend to 6th place. Wow. At 7, Nick Faldo's second shot. He laid back more than Tiger and company did.
Not bad. Upset at it, just put a pull, but not bad.
Faldo tries to push a little bit closer and creep closer. He was in the last couple of groups all week last week at Loch Lomond. And around this week, we go to Ian at the 11th.
And Nota Begay having a putt for a birdie too. Pretty generous hole today, this one. Nota with a very good chance here for a 2. So far today, there's been 18 birdies. This hole averaging right on its par of 3. 24 birdies yesterday, so not too difficult. Hole well guarded by the Strath bunker in front. Huge shell bunker that the players have to cross with their second shots from 7. Also,
stand still over there, please.
In their eye as they play their tee shot. And this was the hole where Bobby Jones walked in his first trip here to St Andrews. And we've seen that a lot. Players coming up short there on the uphill putt. Nota Begay even par. 3 under total for the tournament. See the little medallion there that he wears in the center of his chest? That's the player's medallion. Players wear it in various places. To 13.
Lauren Roberts, second shot.
Very long shot, 210 yards, played way out to the left. Good angle, though. Flag way back on the right.
Yeah, plenty of room, Rusty, to bring it in from the left. It's the 5th green to the left.
Hold the line.
Oh, this could be good if it gets over this last knob. Get over.
Got one.
Okay. Robert's very effective here because it's not been that windy. He's not that strong in terms of playing in the wind. 2-8.
Now Tiger for a birdie too, just repositioning his ball to the desired place. Some players like to have the name of the brand of the golf ball pointing at the hole. Others like to have nothing showing at all.
Which were you?
I like nothing on top, like just plain white. I'm a feel putter and didn't like to see anything or try and aim anything precisely. It was more a feel of it going in. I think especially on greens like this too, you can't get too precise. You've got to be more of a feel, flow, touch type of putter. Tiger made a 3 here yesterday, and he'll do the same again today, I would suggest. A couple of feet away for a 3.
So Woods, who was tied at 5 under with Steve Flesch yesterday, point during his round, good part of the afternoon, and then Ernie Els came in, birdied the road hole, and parred the last, finished at 6 under and had the lead. Ernie shot even par today, but Tiger's back tied atop the leaderboard with another American, David Toms. 5 under par round today as the scoring has been good and the quality of the leaderboard has improved as the week has gone along. We still have plenty of coverage ahead. Tiger only on the 8th green. We'll see him around here, the old course, the rest of the late morning and early afternoon back in the States. But in the interim, we're going to take a break and update you on what's been happening in sports and what's happened overnight. We'll send it back for an ESPN News update and then continue with more of our coverage of the 129th British Open here on ESPN. But now the ESPN News update, and here's Chris McKendry. Chris?
Mike, thank you. The latest news in a minute, but first highlights from this morning's second round at St. Andrews, the 129th British Open. Jack Nicklaus walking up the 18th. On 18, his approach.
Yeah.
And a fine shot a few feet from the pins. He'd missed the birdie putt, but Jack for par, and he 2 putts for par. And a final farewell to St. Andrews. Great ovation. Tiger Woods getting off to a fine start today for birdie on the first hole. And he sinks it. A budding rival, Sergio Garcia, pretty fine day as well. On the 10th hole, he climbed onto the leaderboard after the first round, chipping, trying to get it up and down. And a fine roll right past the cup. Sergio Garcia shot at 69 for the day, and he finished 7 under par. David Toms comes into the day at 3 under, putting for birdie on the 9th.
Go in.
And it does go in. He moves to 6 under with the birdie putt, then to 17, his third shot from the fringe. Within a foot, and he would tap in for par. David Toms finishes the day at the lead, 8 under par. Tiger Woods on the 4th hole. And that's for birdie. Birdie 3 of the first 4, and Tiger drops into a tie with David Toms at 8 under par. David Toms, a bogey-free second round, shot a 67. Sergio Garcia follows the first round 69 with a 68. And Steve Flesch also 7 under par, minus 270 on the day. Brett Couples had a fine day, shot a 68, and he's on the leaderboard at 6 under. After what may be his last round at the British Open, Jack Nicklaus spoke with Carl Ravitch.
Jack, as this round goes, was this as emotional a round as you ever played?
Oh, Carl, I don't know. I think that the only emotional part happened coming up 18th hole, and when it was obvious that I wasn't going to make the cut, and you know, the people were just terrific here with the reception I got coming up there.
And I did hear you say something about it's a good thing that the Azinger group was on the first tee so that you could dry your eyes. You were touched by the outpouring, and you have been since you began coming over here, haven't you?
I've always enjoyed St. Andrews. I've enjoyed the Scottish people, enjoyed playing golf over here. They've treated me as though I was one of theirs from day one, and you know, it's been really nice. And to play at St. Andrews is and finish up here. Obviously, I hate these Friday afternoon interviews. You know, I much prefer Sunday.
You obviously remember your first trip over here. The number of times you've been over here, the records are incredible. But from 63 to 80, Jack, say for a 12th place finish, every Sunday you teed it up, you were in contention for a British Open.
I had a good run here.
Great run.
Yeah, I had a great run. I was there every time. I won 3 times. Probably could have or should have won, 3 or 4 more times, but I didn't. I've had some great luck in the British Open, and I enjoyed it. And they told me inside that they're going to come back here in 2005. And I said largely because I'll be 65 then if I would come back. I said, wait a minute. I just hoped that 1960 was going to be. I want to go through that again. Well,
Is there a chance we see that again?
Oh, that's possible, sure.
Good.
But I certainly didn't expect it when I came over. I expect this to be my last time. And it probably is. I wouldn't come back unless I felt like I could play decently.
And welcome back to St. Andrews, the home of golf. 500 years of history here. Is the place poised to witness more? Golf's grandest stage could see Tiger succeed in his quest to win a career Grand Slam. 67 on day 1. On course to challenge the records of the best ever, Jack Nicklaus, who's had so many special moments here, and today had one more, perhaps his last great moment at St. Andrews. Now is it Tiger's turn on golf's greatest stage? We welcome you back to ESPN's continuing coverage of the 129th Open Championship. From St. Andrews, another benign wind, cloudless sky, perfect day. Atypical of what you expect at Scotland and links golf. It's already been a very eventful day as we come past noon on the East Coast. Jack Nicklaus playing what perhaps is his final British Open. He said maybe in 2005, maybe at age 65, one more. But Jack has said he won't play ceremonial golf, missing the cut. An emotional moment with the fans and his son. Perhaps the final reception of great cheers here at St. Andrews. And just a few minutes after Jack finished on 18 in the close proximity of the first tee made it even more special. Tiger getting off to a grand start. As he put the peg in the ground, he was 3 behind the lead. Woods shooting 5 under 67 yesterday. He made 8 straight pars to start the day yesterday, but after the good tee shot and second shot, birdie at the first, and Woods was at 6 under par. Made a par at 2 and a par at 3, and then moved to the 4th hole. Took a 3-wood off this tee, the first wood that he used in the round. An 8 or 9 iron in for his second shot, and nearly perfect, which made that birdie to get to 7 under par and inch within 1 of the lead. Then a 52-minute 5th hole, because there were 5 groups on 5 when Tiger's group arrived at the tee. It took a long time. This was his 3rd putt from the valley up past the flagstick, just rolling across the edge of the cup, and this putt for birdie to get to 8 under and join David Toms atop the leaderboard. We were with you to watch Tiger make par at 6 and 7, left you right before his little tap in at the 8th, and while you were away, some of the other things that were happening, including Phil Mickelson for birdie. Phil Mickelson's on one of the great charges, threatening for the best back 9 ever at St. Andrews. No one shot 29 on the inward half. And this was a birdie attempt. So he stops the under par streak. He had a birdie, an eagle, then 3 consecutive birdies. Played 11 through 15 and 6 under par. But a par at the 16th will have Mickelson stay at 6 under and 2 off the lead. Also, while we're away, Padraig Harrington at number 5. This for eagle to get to 7 under. And he rolls it in. Hear the warm receptions that Harrington receives as the man from Ireland has a birdie on 4, an eagle on 5, and joins the group at 7 under with Garcia, the Dane, Thomas Bjorn, American Steve Flesh, and Lauren Roberts, who's still out on the golf course and playing well. Ernie Els even par today. Mickelson's charge from the cut line to the first page of the leaderboard. Couple striking it well. Darren Clark from Northern Ireland. just 2 back. Dennis Paulson continuing his very good summer of play. Lehman 3 off the pace. Faldo and Sink 4 back. Jeff Sluman has moved into that group as well. Steve Jones is 4 back. What a weekend is starting to shape up. Mike Tirico again with Curtis Strange, Ian Baker Finch, and Steve Melnick. Andy North joined us earlier. Judy Rankin, Bob Rosberg, and Gary Smith will take us the rest of the afternoon. Carl Ravitch will continue to do the interviews with the key individuals after they finish. Frank Hannigan, if we have any rulings to deal with. So this was Tiger's second at the 9th.
Just laid up those 2 bunkers off the tee. Good shot, coming up just about 15 feet short of the hole.
I have a birdie putt for the outright lead. We go live to the green first, and David Gossett for birdie. Gossett runs that by. He did drop a shot at the 8th, the par 3, so he's bogeyed 6 and 8 and gone from even par to 2 over. He's 3 over for the day, and Steve Melnick calls the 10th.
Paul Azinger for birdie at the... Oh, my. If you're playing at home, you'd have said, that's good. Man, I think that shocked him. Zinger links golf, almost won in his first ever British Open at Muirfield when mistakes at the last couple of holes did him in. Back at 9.
Tiger's birdie here yesterday was his first and got him to 1 under par. A birdie here would be his 4th of the day, send him out in 32 and put him alone in the lead. That's 32 out. 27 holes, no bogeys, 9 birdies. Leader by 1.
Go Tiger!
It's been a pretty impressive first 9.
Well, as we said, the first 9 is the easiest. He should have taken advantage of it. I thought he would take advantage of it, and he has done that. I don't think the backside's going to play a whole lot differently for him because of his length, but it will get a little tougher for most players because of wind. You are going back into a left to right breeze. But he still has a 10th, 11th, and 12th. 10th and 11th being drivable par 4s for Tiger.
So we told you Tiger was steady and comfortable yesterday, 8 consecutive pars, and today birdies at the 1st, the 4th, and here at the 9th. 9 birdies and 18 pars through his first 27 holes, and if memory serves me right, not a bunker found thus far.
The key to playing St. Andrews, keep it out of the bunkers.
Go back to 84 and 90 when Seve and Nick Faldo won, and in reading past histories and their recollections of them, I think they said each was only in a bunker once the entire week. Gives you an idea of the formula for success at the old course. They make the turn. Go to 10.
Well, let's take a look at the 10th. It was drivable yesterday by a number of players because it was blowing a little bit stronger out of the right and helping them. This tee's been pushed back some 45 yards, so the bunkers right here really aren't into play. Most of the players will kind of lay up just to the left of those bunkers, but the big hitters are going to try to put it right on the green. The green, as you see, is right there. Tough to see the difference. All the grasses are about the same. Today's hole location right in the front center of the green on a little tiny terrace. I've never seen it there before in my life. And on the left, that's the 11th tee, just to the left of the 10th green. Let's go up to 17.
And Phil Mickelson playing his second shot after a good drive here into the center of the fairway. Catching the little upslope in front. Maybe a good break. Didn't go back over the green onto the road. Maybe not such a good break. Could have run up a little more closer to the hole. But anywhere on this green in 2 is a good play. Now the 11th, par 3.
Jim Furyk for a birdie. This would take him to 5 under. And Jim Furyk playing very steady stuff. Doesn't waste much emotion out there on the golf course. Back at 10. This is a very drivable par 4, even though it's 379 yards. A number of players already this week have knocked it on. There's a new tee. They moved it back 37 yards. Tiger going with the driver. Now he has just unsheathed it. Yesterday, Davis Love drove it on, as did a number. Davis knocked it on and 4-putted yesterday. Route to 74. Now it's just a question of what direction you take. As solidly as he's hitting the ball, those bunkers really shouldn't even be in play.
Steve, I wonder, we've never been in this position, but if you can put it on the surface on a par 4 when you drive,
sure,
you ought to wait.
Yeah. Well, I think they're wondering about maybe letting them hitting up. That could be why they're radioing the official up ahead.
Each group has an official with them.
He came here with the Grand Slam in mind, and it's taken him 27 holes to have the lead outright. It's almost as though there's this grand plan, and he's just knocking the elements of it out one by one. Woods the leader by a shot. This hole is drivable. 12 is drivable. 14 is reachable. There are plenty of birdies ahead. The real test really are 15, 16, and 17. As we go to 15 now.
The par 4 and Thomas Bjorn to get to 8 under, 1 behind Woods. A nice day going. 4 under. We saw him make eagle at 5. No bogeys. Up on 11.
This is Bob Charles from New Zealand, the 1963 winner. Lytham and St Anne's, the only left-hander to win the Open title. Just waiting for his playing partner to hole out. Bob Charles playing alongside Paul Azinger, who's 5 under after 10. And Andrew Coulthard at 2 under. Bob's a couple over, which is pretty good for a 64-year-old.
And many people think he had the finest short game of all from 100 yards in. Could get it close to the hole and could make a lot of putts.
I saw him the other day, Curtis, when I was out on course. He hit a low, flat little draw off the 9th tee, knocked it on the green, landed at 100 yards short of the hole, and the 9th is 352 yards, so that's how this golf course plays. Now we go ahead to Lauren Roberts' 3rd here at the par 5 14.
The light rough has a nice cushion under it to pitch, 65 yards.
Rough, slow play.
Very nicely played, as Rossi said. Coming from the rough, a little bit more cushion under the ball, a little softer feel to it. Going back into the breeze a little as well. Good chance for Lauren Roberts there to move to 8 under. Back at 10.
Woods group back on the tee, and the group up ahead, which is Johansson, O'Meara, and Emano.
Steve, we talked so much about David Gossett, the amateur, who I guess he has a lot on his mind, possibly turning pro or not, but what he has to keep in perspective playing with this guy right here is that he didn't have to play this well to play, be competitive on tour.
Well, he is witnessing the best at the greatest venue this summer and the spring at the Masters. Woods now can knock it on.
There was some serious club head speed in that swing.
Softly. Soft.
That's well right.
See it?
And that's in kind of a scruffy patch of rough over there.
That'll be okay. It's just going to be so difficult as we look at the whole shot that he has. It's going to be tough to get it close to the hole just because of all these little nooks and crannies right there short of the green. There you see him. There's a bottom there. There's a bottom there. There's a big bottom right over there. So going to have to have a good shot, but also get lucky, too.
Well, Woods has birdie holes left, as we mentioned. His lead won, but if he plays the kind of game that we expect him to play, that lead could grow.
Back at the 14th, the boss of the Moss, Lauren Roberts, putting for a birdie to move to 8 under. Roberts will remain at 7 under, just 2 out of the lead, held currently by Tiger. And ahead to the 17th, we saw Phil Mickelson come up well short, about 25 paces short of the hole before. This for birdie 3. We taped that for you a few moments ago. Yesterday, 32 was the best inward half. There was 3 of those. Phil Mickelson looking to be, for the birdie at the last, the first man to break 30 in the Open Championship on this inward 9. Let's head back to 6.
Harrington at 7 under, this for birdie. Oh, did he hit it? Did he hit it? Right in the throat. So the young Irishman, just 2 back. One thing about Woods being in the lead is that you know you can't put it on cruise control. You've got to go out and make birdies. And he simply sends a message that, fellas, you better bring your best, because that's what you're going to take.
And, you know, Ernie Els said that in the press yesterday. When he went to the first tee, he knew he had to go well because Tiger had already shot 5 under. They know it. All the players know it, and that weighs on them.
Here at 9, Faldo for his 3rd birdie of the day. Nick Faldo, 5 under par.
He's got a little giddy up in his step, too, now, doesn't he?
He was 3 under on the front yesterday. Same today. 10.
Now, Gary, the situation here at 10.
Well, Nick Price, unfortunately, has had a little bit of bad luck. He's in an old divot hole that has been filled in with sand. So not the greatest of lies. 66 to the hole.
Let's move over here. Let's move over here, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Price coming off a bogey at 9, now 2 over, needs probably 3 birdies from here to the clubhouse to be playing on the weekend.
Bringing this in very low, a long chip and run, and it could be very useful. Good shot from there.
Well, given the lie, yes, I would agree.
Okay, Tiger Woods will be next. 70 yards to the hole. The lie in the rough, not the greatest, especially with a front hole location. It's going to be difficult for him to stop the ball. This needs a good bounce. And he got one.
And if you find yourself at angles to a lot of these knobs, you simply can't get it close here. That one just bounded left and continued to trundle left. But that's part of what you accept when you come over here. I think he relishes this type of play. This is just another challenge to his considerable skills. Up ahead at 15.
Lauren Roberts on the tee. 2 off the lead. Rossi swinging as well as last week?
I think he's swinging beautifully at the ball. I feel like that's a little unlucky, though. That's right in the bunker.
Yeah. Run it for that area.
This a new tee, some 43 yards back of where it used to be. Used to be, never looked at that bunker. You always carried that bunker that Lauren just hit it in. It was never a problem. Now it is.
And there's the frustration. Hit it well, roll into a bunker. To the 12th, Jim Furyk. Back-to-back, perhaps. Well, there's typical Jim Furyk, just kind of cruising along, and look who's 3 off the lead. 4th birdie of the day. At the 18th, Jared Mosley for par. He bogeyed 14, 15, 16, and 17. At one point, he was 8 under. Matter of fact, that was his first par on the second 9. He had 3 birdies, 5 bogeys, then the par at the 18th. Mickelson tees off the last.
Just hit it right at the clock on the clubhouse.
Birdie for Phil here, and he will shoot 7 under. You see where the drive ended up. Hot and rolling in good shape at 10.
Woods looking over a very long birdie effort here. Montgomery made an interesting observation earlier this week. The greens are a combination of fescue and bent, and you have patches of good grass and patches of not so good grass, and you see a lot of short putts missed here when you get in sort of a patchy grass area when you want to hit the ball firmly, but sometimes the situation does not warrant that.
Well, Steve, it was funny as we walked up to the 8th green, Tiger said to me, have you ever seen a golf course where the fairways are faster than the greens?
And the superintendent claims that the greens on the loop, and particularly the 11th and 12th greens, are faster because of the wind. They dry out quicker, so they're considerably faster than those closer to the clubhouse.
Well, he's got about 30, 35 feet here. It looks like he's aiming well to the left. Should slide to the right. Starting this out way left, but taking a big hump. That one was fast.
Curtis said it's a hole location that I didn't see on the green when we checked it out earlier this week. That's something new. Well, the #1 player in the world is atop the leaderboard at perhaps the #1 championship in the world. Woods in the lead by 1. While we're away, Nikki Price, who badly needs some birdies. Can it get down the hill? Our Frank Hannigan tells us now that he thinks, with good reason, that cut may be even. So, Curtis, possibly scores moving up this afternoon?
Well, we thought they'd move up a little bit. I actually still thought even par would be the cut, but it looks like, or 1 under. Now it looks like even.
Well, you got 15, 16, and 17 to tiptoe through on the inward 9. And now Tiger, remember, has not made a bogey all week. Ooh. Just snuck in the right. And the cut is looking more like even, as we just said. 65 players at 1 under. Cut at low 70 and ties. Let's go to 15.
And Lauren Roberts, second shot. Third shot, I beg your pardon. Of course, his tee shot went in the bunker.
Had to play straight sideways. Has 200 yards into the hole. Wind out of the left. And this is way right. And that's going to miss the green 35 yards to the right.
And the problems of putting a drive in a bunker.
That's on the 16th tee, well to the right. Be a simple little pitch, but got to get it up and down to save bogey.
Let's come to the 18th, where Phil Mickelson, if he can get up and down, will shoot 29.
You know, so much depends on when you run it. It just doesn't go forward all the time like you expect. If you hit the face of the hill, it'll knock the speed off. If you hit the downslope, so you're not only looking and feeling the speed, you have to look exactly where your ball is going to make contact with the ground.
We go to 11.
David Gossett, the young amateur, on the tee now. Par 3, 180 yards today.
Playing downwind.
And this is one of the few hole locations you have to keep short of the hole. This flagstick all the way on a little shelf way in the back of this 11th green.
Bringing this in very high.
And a good safe shot. That'll just speed back. Severe slope on this green from back to front. Most important thing here is to miss the deep bunker in the front of the green. And the whole location today perched up on that back little right shelf. This green is shared with the 7. Something to remember, the shared greens all add up to 18. 7, 11, 10 and 8, 5 and 13. Just remember that. The doubles are all added up to 18. Eight iron for Tiger.
In the hole. There.
Good smart shot. Over the back is dead. Definitely don't want to go over there. Left himself an uphill putt. Players on the 11th tee, watch out for tee shots coming from the 10th. Some of the longer hitters trying to get it up there near the green can hook it up towards their tee. Sharing a joke there with Stevie Williams. Tiger looks pretty relaxed there, even though he's in the lead in the 129th British Open Championship at the home of golf, St Andrews.
There is no higher honor in golf than to be elected captain of the R&A and thus to represent the club on public occasions for 1 year. But first, the captain must undergo the excruciating experience of driving himself in before a large audience early on a September morning. Down the fairway, caddies wait to pounce on a ball, which the captain then buys for a gold sovereign.
We're back. Phil Mickelson. This will be his third shot. He's taken out the putter. Mickelson must make this to shoot 29. Only 10 times in the history of the British Open has somebody played one side or the other in less than 30 strokes, and Mickelson will not join one of those 10 times done by 9 different people, including our colleague Ian Baker Finch twice. But he'll have a putt for par and a round of 66. Back at 15, Lauren Roberts' fourth shot.
He's going to play a little pitch and run. Sort of coming up in a groove there.
All right.
You went left.
All right, a putt. You can get out of Dodge with a 5. Back at 11.
And Gossett's got a tough putt here, Curtis.
He's up a big slope. Comes up the face of the slope. Big left to right break.
US Women's Open coming up next from the Merritt Club in Quirky, Illinois. We were over there a couple of weeks ago for the Western Open. And that's what he has. It's very slow early, but then as it comes across the crest, right there, look out. Just waiting for people to putt at the 7th. You know, maybe it was here at St Andrews that so much of the etiquette that we try to uphold in the game was learnt, because there's a lot of etiquette involved in these double greens and the style of golf that's played here.
wish we could adopt the Scots pace of play back in the States.
And here even. Rounds yesterday at the close of play, 6 hours. And it looks like heading in that direction again today. Well, not too bad from where he was. Uphill 4-footer for his par 3. Ahead to 18.
Mickelson for par in a round of 66. 30 on the inward 9. Nobody's ever broken 30 on the inward 9 at the British Open. Phil came very close, but he's only 3 back.
That's how quickly things can change. He was looking like he was going to struggle to make the cut, and all of a sudden he's very much in the middle of this picture here.
As we come back to 15, you saw Mickelson shake the hand of one of his fellow competitors, Dennis Paulson. Paulson bogeyed the road hole, but finished with a round of 71 at 5 under. He's only 4 back.
That's also why we say don't ever give up, and I know that's a overused phrase sometimes, and some people laugh at it, but it's true. Mickelson could have almost thrown in the towel, or not thrown in the towel, but not just work as hard, and next thing you know, he has a chance to win the British Open. Now Lauren from 4 or 5 feet to save bogey. All set up because he drove it in one of the pot bunkers. Just like a penalty stroke, had to go out sideways. Good save.
His win in Milwaukee moved him up to 15 on the tour money list and 26 in the world rankings. That at age 45, Lauren Roberts. 3 behind the lead. 7-time winner in his tour career. Let's go back to the 11th.
And the birdie putt of Tiger Woods up the slope.
There's not much break to this one, Ian. Just up the hill the whole way. Very few people have gotten to the hole today.
Very good putt. Good speed, good touch, tap in par. That's all you're looking for here. 3's a good score. 12's a pretty easy hole, even though it's slightly left to right back into the breeze, but then the golf begins. That stretch from 13 through to 17. 4's all the way home is a good result for Tiger at 9 under. Now the 17th tee, Thomas Bjorn. What a majestic hole this is. That's a good drive. The Old Course Hotel there on the right-hand side, just finding the light rough, perfect angle of attack. And Thomas Bjorn at 7 under par, right up there, just 2 from the lead. Perhaps a 4-3 finish for him could see him closer to the top. Welcome back to the 11th tee, and Nick Faldo's about to play his tee shot.
Well, he's looking back into the 10th fairway as the second shot's being played there, just as Tiger did with him a few minutes ago. 7-iron in Nick's hand. Breeze helping, and just from the right.
Avoid the front bunker. Don't be long.
He has not missed a green to this point today.
And that will roll back like the group before. David Gossett had the same similar sort of putt up the slope and left to right over at 12T.
314, par 4. Good luck getting a view.
And that was the driver.
So on and beyond the green at 12, par 4, and there in 1. Phil Mickelson, a great back 9. Shot 30s with Carl Rapids. Carl?
Hi, Mike. Indeed, he did, and we just broke the bad news to him that, in fact, no one has ever shot a 29 on the backside of any British Open. It's not going to ruin your day, but you're a historian. You know what that would have meant. Would have been nice.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. To be part of the record books here at the Open would be something special. I did not know that that was the case. coming into 18, and I got a little bit greedy trying to get it too close. I probably, looking back on it, with the wind slightly in, should have flown one up top and given myself a 15, 20-foot look at birdie.
Before we talk about today, I know yesterday you came off after a 72, and that could have been a much lower score. You got a bad break on 17, but you felt real good about the way you played.
Well, I had played well, and I finished very poorly and missed countless putts from inside 6 feet for birdie, and it was very frustrating for me. And the same occurred the front 9 today. Right. I missed a bunch of birdie putts that lipped out and made a couple of bogeys and just had nothing going, and through 10 holes was even par. I don't know what happened. The light switch went on when I made that 20-footer on 11, and things just turned around. A couple of putts went in. I started to get some confidence, and all of a sudden, the putts that looked like they were wiggling now were holding their line, and it just felt totally different.
Are you sure the light went on, or did something happen out there? I asked your caddy, Bones, I said, who said something at 10 when you were even, and he just giggled.
Well, I just needed to get started. I knew that today wasn't the day I was going to go really low at that point. I just felt if I could get 2 or 3 to the backside and not get too far behind, a good round of 6 or 7 under might make up some ground. I feel like I'm still back, but I'm more in it than I was certainly starting the day, and I feel that a good round on Saturday could put me right in the thick of things for Sunday. This golf course can be had. It's very difficult to get the ball close because it is very hard ground, but a couple of well-struck shots can get close to the hole, and there's some reachable par 4s.
And there was one sort of a miracle shot that you had on 12. You talked about your birdie in 11. You drove the green on 12 and had about a 40-foot putt there, didn't you?
I did, and it was up over a huge ridge, and the pin was on top of the shelf, and 5-6 feet behind it, it went away into another fall-off area. So I was just trying to get it up on the right section and make birdie. My lag putting has been less than exceptional. I had just 3-putter, or not, basically 3-putter from just off the edge at 10, and I was just trying to 2-putt and make birdie, and all of a sudden the ball was on line, and if it would just reach it, it was going to go in, and it did, and that gave me a lot of momentum there.
And that was backed up by a couple more birdies for a 30 on the backside. You have struggled historically in the British, and yet here you are now just a couple off the lead. Are you more comfortable in the environment here? Is it the golf course? Is it your game?
I think that this golf course is most suited to my game than any other open course that I have played. The teeing areas are extremely forgiving. You have 60, 80 yards on some holes, and so I can just wail away at driver on a good number of holes and leave it up to my short game, and whether it's a bump and run or so forth. I have no lob shot here because it just doesn't work. The ground's too hard. But the feel and touch around the greens is where I need to make up some scores, and the first 27 holes I was not doing that, and in the last 9 I didn't give any shots away.
Right. Nearly made history on the backside, may make history as being the second lefty to ever win a British Open. Bob Charles the first and only in '63. Steve Flesch also played well. Phil, thanks very much for being with us. Okay, Ian Baker Finch, yours.
Thanks, Carl. Good talking to the lefty there, and a fine 30 coming in on the back 9. As we look down at the beach on the left, that's where they had the movie Chariots of Fire. That beach on the left-hand side there was where that was filmed, the opening scene. And the wonderful old town. Thomas Bjorn, third shot at 17.
There you see caddy having to tend the pin because he was on the surface even though he was chipping over the front face of the green.
Back at 12.
And problems for Nick Price.
He at this point is just trying to figure out which way he can get out. Saw him pointing to the right.
It's been very much an up and down day for Nick. You know, he had such a hot start, but severe lip here.
Stayed in, so he'll be playing 3 from that same bunker. You know, as Carl was talking to Phil Mickelson, we saw Justin Leonard go by. Leonard parred the last 5 holes, finished at even par. So the winner in '97 will have to wait to see where the cut ends up. It'll come back toward the player a little bit. Nick Price, who got off to the hot start, might not be around for the weekend. Let's go back to 8.
And the first of the par 3s, Porrick Harrington for a birdie. Porrick Harrington playing alongside Peter Senior. Both those players 3 under par in their rounds today, and Stuart Sink from Atlanta, Georgia, even par to 12.
See what Tiger has for his second.
Well, he's got a decent lie in the rough, little chip and run needed. He's got to go through a little valley, then up a big slope in front of the hole. Put the ball back in his stance.
So of that putt for birdie in a 2-shot lead. Was at the 12th where he made a birdie 3 yesterday. In a similar situation, and after his round told Carl that when you get behind some of these greens, sometimes the shots are easier, and we reiterate the point that this golf course was played the wrong way around, so sometimes from beyond the green, it's a little easier shot, although the lie didn't dictate that necessarily there. 17.
Thomas Bjorn for a par after that testing little third shot.
Well, you hate to make bogey anywhere, but when you make bogey here, you don't feel quite as badly because you know the rest of the field is doing the same thing. Just 16.
Lauren Roberts, second shot.
This is from 180.
Pretty good play, Rossi. Odd lie?
Kind of an odd lie, yes. I think that was a 4-iron. Held it up in the wind.
Back at 12.
And Gossett will have an eagle attempt. He used a couple, and as we've told you, it does get tougher coming in, especially 15, 16, 17.
Good putt. Can't tell you how difficult it is to come up a face of a green of about 2.5 feet like that to judge the speed. We're just not used to doing it.
Texas Longhorn, David Gossett.
Looks very mature, very poised for 21 years old. Of course, his record is phenomenal as an amateur.
Well, you pointed out yesterday the amount of quality players in that 17, 18 to 22 group, and a lot of them compete in the significant events and collegiate events in the States against each other. Thus, they've raised their own quality of play, and it may be higher than that same standard 10, 15, 20 years ago.
They're just getting better. It's like every sport. They're getting bigger and stronger, and they're trained at an earlier age better than we were. Machines, video cameras, the whole bit. Teachers go with them every day. Heck, I never had a teacher, really. You know, my dad early on, Chandler Harper later on, to watch Nick Price for par. But you got Luke Donald in the field this week. You have Adam Scott, who just turned 20 last week. He's a phenomenal player and a Tiger Woods protege, really. Works with Butch Harmon. And there's another amateur in the field.
The Finn,
Philip Rowe.
Philip Rowe.
Philip Rowe. I mean,
goes to school in the States.
That's the other thing. They go to school in the States and prepare. So it's amazing how good and mature and poised these young kids are.
Philip Rowe from England goes to Stanford. He shot 76 today. Is 4 over for the championship. Luke Donald, who goes to Northwestern, is 1 over. He's out there churning away right now. Let's go back to 11.
And this is for a par. We saw Felder come up short left with his tee shot. Overcooked his first putt. And lots of Australians too, guys, going to the colleges in the States as well. The young players leave school and look forward to joining the college system.
But you all have the federation down there, which is funded by the government, correct?
Yep.
And you're recruited to go to that. I know Allenby, Appleby.
Yes.
You?
No. But there's only a dozen or so that can do that. So there's so many others want to get into the college system in the States as we go to 12.
And so much has been spoken of Tiger's college team and his college teammates, Casey Martin, Nota Begay. Tiger to take a 2-shot lead. First to 10 under par in this championship. He leads by 2. 5 birdies yesterday over 18 holes. 5 birdies in 12 holes today in quest of the career slam. Tiger by 2.
Back out at 16, Lauren Roberts dropped a shot at the last, has this for birdie, and what a silky stroke it is. And it's been made easier this week because there's a lack of wind to buffet him around. You have that long, slow stroke. You don't want a lot of wind blowing you. I've seen it blow here when all you could try to do is just move the putter back enough to create some daylight and then kind of push it to the hole. You need to be a tap putter here in the wind. I think that's why a lot of the Scots are wristy.
Remember 2 years ago at Birkdale, Steve, Cal was playing that year, and we had to cancel the day for an hour and a half or so because the wind started blowing. A storm went through. It didn't rain or anything. The wind just blew so hard, had to cancel the round for an hour and a half.
Yeah, the ball striking's tough enough, but the putting's impossible.
Well, if the ball starts blowing around on the greens, that's when it becomes unfit for play, and they have to do something.
Now, out at 13, Tiger at the par 4. He needs to hit it about 285 yards to the sort of the left center of the fairway. Avoid the coffin bunkers. Three wood for Tiger should just be about right.
The hole playing a little bit more difficult too, Steve, because they're now playing back into the wind and it's slightly from the left.
The amazing thing is, as hard as he swings at it every time, he hits it solidly and he keeps his balance.
See, I think that's part of why he hits it so straight, because he hits it so hard. He fully releases every shot. Centrifugal force takes over and he puts it to square every time. Well, you just saw Tiger tee off on the 13th hole. Let's take a look at it. When the wind is blowing out of the left, this probably is the hardest hole in the golf course, other than 17, of course. But there are the coffins right here that you talked about. Into the wind, the players drive over here. Downwind, they drive to the right. Whatever it is, they want to keep it short of that mound right there. After that, get real close to the mound, you have a blind second shot to this green that's elevated. You never can really see the surface of the green. This is the part that they want to get it on, and today's hole location, pretty accessible in the back center of the green. The one place, again, you do not want it is the pot bunker front right.
Well, it is the second toughest hole on the golf course today, and while we have a minute, I was looking at the stats, and the front side is about a shot and a half easier than the back.
Sounds like Tiger Woods, a shot and a half better than the rest of the field.
Every round.
Every round is a scoring average. That really puts it in perspective when you talk about 6 shots better every tournament over the number 2 guy.
Price tee shot on the way. You can go left here and be safe, and that is exactly what he's done. That's the 6th fairway well left. One thing about St. Andrews, you can miss it left and be safe, but you have a tough angle into the flag. Although here at 13, it's maybe a better angle. 218.
Our putt for Thomas Bjorn. He's moved himself into that group at 6 under, where Els and Mickelson and Couples have finished. Bjork and Roberts currently sit. So Thomas Bjorn, 2 rounds in the 60s, playing with Hal Sutton and Lee Trevino, as Lee says perhaps his farewell to the Open. I mentioned 60-year-old Lee Trevino. There he is, putting out on the 18th, making a par putt. Champion in 71 and 72, and he brought out of retirement that man, Willie Aitchison, his caddy when he came over for the British Open. Willie's the caddy master, looks after the caddies at all the stops on the European Tour. Trevino said in 95 that was it at St. Andrews. He says this might be it, but 2002 back at Muirfield where he won in 1972, that may be the reason he comes back. You can play in the British Open if you're a past champ, as long as you're 65 by the closing Sunday of that year's championship. And you can see Trevino, who was, no surprise, chatty in the British Open Past Champions Challenge. It was really enjoyable here on Wednesday. Carl Ravitch, Andy North described it. You'll see it Sunday at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Classic. That's Sunday. 17.
Lauren Roberts' second shot here at the par 4.
From 195, but a perfect angle in which he can scoot it in.
Come on.
Hit it a little thin, though. Left it well short.
Well, we see
second or third iron, Curtis, he's hit like that this 9.
Yeah, but I really think, Rossi, most of the players, if not all of them, are playing to the front right.
Well, that's true. You don't want to hit it through the green, that's for sure.
13. Nick Price, second shot.
Nick from the light rough has a good lie, 184 yards back to the hole.
Right over the top. And that is long and left. That is well over 100 feet away. That's the 5th green. He's closer to the flagstick on 5, and that's in the front of the green.
With this whole location some 44 yards back, just showing how huge these greens are. Tiger will be next. He has 172 yards to the hole. Just a little bit of breeze from the left.
Just hold the cameras. Thanks very much, folks.
This is a great
shot date's perfect here, Tiger.
Great place to watch. His alignment is perfect. His posture is perfect. His grip is perfect. And on top of everything else, his plane's not bad.
His plane's so good he has his own plane.
You know, you may be short, Gary, but you've come up with some high spots.
Thank you, Stevie.
Well, Steve, you were talking about how good it is, and it is good. The perfect line here, because of the wind out of the left, is just to aim slightly left, and he's doing just that. Perfectly aligned. Club face line would just be left of the hole. His alignment's better than my line drawing, I know that. Straight back, all in one piece, incredible extension. That's what he and Butch work on. They've gotten the backswing absolutely perfect. If we can stop it right at the top, look at the back of the left hand, perfectly square to the line, to his club face is exactly the same. Now as he comes down, he gets his left out of the way early, gives himself a lot of room. What happens once in a while, he gets too far on the inside, but that is perfect. Look at this. This is where he's changed to. He keeps the right heel on the ground better now. He used to come out and up early. Down and through. Stays down and through so well.
You know, I wasn't sure that we'd ever see, Curtis, a player whose fundamentals were perfect. And we may be looking at that.
I think they are. I really think they are. Everybody seems to have a little quirk, a little something characteristic in their swing, and his is perfect.
Let's come over to the ninth for Harrington for par. Stay within 3 of Woods. 2 bowls. So Harrington is going to drop 4 back. Harrington started the day at 4 under, had a birdie on 1, an eagle 5, had it at 7 under, but drops a shot there and is now 4 behind. Tiger Woods, the leader at the British Open. It's a little past 6 o'clock here in Scotland, 1 on the East Coast, 10 on the West Coast of the U.S. We welcome you back to our coverage of the British Open. It's the town of St. Andrews. It's just off to the right there. As the town just melds into the golf course, and it is a wonderful week to experience the Open at St. Andrews. As you see, the life in the town goes on somewhat. I was going to say people living in those houses and apartments, but if they are smart, they have sold out for the week to a lot of corporate America. I went shopping to buy a sweater or 2 today, early in the morning, and I saw more Americans there than I do like in an airport in Chicago. It was amazing.
Well, it's a huge tournament this week. A lot of Americans have been planning this for a couple of years to come to the Millennium Open at St. Andrews.
One of the reasons to come over also was to see Tiger.
Well, a lot of it was planned before him as well. Before they knew it was going to be possibly for the Slam.
Didn't hurt the travel agents.
No.
13.
You know, the Scots have the great saying, "Nay win, nay golf," and that's basically been the story for the first 2 rounds here. The wind has laid down. It has been susceptible to a number of birdies, but none has played as well as this person. been methodical in his excellence. To 15.
At the par 4, trouble for Jim Furyk. Fourth shot.
Nice, Jim.
Furyk only bogey today was at the 5th. Drop another one here to the road hole, 17.
Lauren Roberts, third shot from the front of the green.
Had the putter out first, then went to a lofted iron. He was going to pitch it over the hump, but now he's back to putting.
Rossi, what would you do here?
Well, I think I'd putt it. I'd have to. I like the idea of chipping, but not when the fairways are this short. And I think it rolls just like the green, Curtis. It just makes it a little easier, I think. As good as this guy is with the putter anyway.
Especially if you're as good as this guy is.
Sometimes at the front of this green, there's a little scalloped ridges and hollows that might be in your line that you feel that if you pitch it up on top, you avoid that. You don't know whether the putt's going to be thrown right or thrown left, and many players from this position have actually putted it into the bunker. Lauren Roberts nearly putting it into the hole. That's an excellent attempt from about 30 yards. But he's got some work to do if he's going to catch the man at the top. Lauren Roberts will remain at 6 under, 4 behind.
In the first round of the 1950 British Amateur Championship at St Andrews, there was an unusually sizable gallery to observe a match between two golfers without exceptional credentials. You see, one of the players was the American, Bing Crosby. Crosby started well, but eventually bowed to the superior local knowledge of Jamie Wilson, who won 3 and 2. Wilson evermore was called Bing on the streets of St Andrews.
We're on the 14th tee, and our leader, Tiger Woods.
Coming right.
Going a little right, Gary?
Went down the right-hand side. He was leaning quite a bit. I was back by the tee. I couldn't see where it finished, but it's not in the fairway.
It's just in the right-hand rough, just out of the shadows, and that's not too bad. I know it's close to the out of bounds now. It probably didn't look too good from the tee, but it's not a bad angle. Nicky Price now.
Wind hard from the left. It drives the ball so well normally, and that's a beauty.
The center of the fairway, they call that big area the Elysian Fields. Just past the Beardies on the left.
Well, let's look at the Elysian Fields up here to the right of the 3 bunkers that you do not want any part of, but the hole is played short all week long, and they are not really an option right now. The out of bounds on the right, the wall you do not want any part of either, but after a good drive, most of the players able to get on this week. Today, the wind freshening just a little bit, only the big hitters, but avoid hell bunker. That is the biggest bunker. There you see it. Look at the bank of this thing. It's really intimidating. I've been in it before. You don't want any part of it. Certainly don't want to have to climb out of the thing right there. But if you avoid hell bunker, it will run almost all the way to the green. That's the green right there. The one place you do not want to be, obviously, is these bunkers on the left. Another huge embankment in front of this green, also in the back. Today's hole location, back center.
And Curtis, that hell bunker is 718 square yards of sand. That's a pretty big bunker. And it's a yard deeper than it was in 1984. They changed that, made it a lot deeper. And the little bunkers up near the green that you said you've got to avoid, those tiny little things, they're actually called the grave bunkers, aptly named. But Tiger Woods is on the 14th, and he's 10 under par. Lauren Roberts to remain at 6 under par. Just for par at 17. And he's He's holding those with monotonous regularity. Not finding these greens too much trouble at all. He'll walk off the back of the 17th green, and the 18th tee awaits. Back at 16.
Lehman's second shot. That's Principal's nose directly in front of him. He's laid well back. You'd like to kind of bounce it into this whole location if you can, like that. That's a pretty smart play. Lehman at 5 under is making a quiet move here. Back at 14.
Nick Price will be first to play.
Way back, looks like he might even have the driver out here.
Yes, he's got the big-headed one out.
Dangerous play when you have hell bunker in front of you.
That one chasing forward. Lovely shot.
Great shot.
And that's the place to be, just over the back. It's a much better shot than from in front of this green, and he's avoided all the bunkers. There's Nick Price's ball, but as Curtis suggested, he had to take this bunker, hell bunker, into play to get there. 1995, Jack tried to bite off a little bit too much here in hell bunker, and he is not a happy camper right now. Now just trying to get it out.
Ian, this was the only time in my life I ever saw Jack Nicklaus really flustered.
Jack went on to putt for a 9, lifted out, and made a double digit. It's in 1995. Nicklaus makes a 10 at 14. Hell bunker. Caught another victim. I don't think it'll catch Tiger, though. He's too far up.
Well, he's got 260 yards back to the hole, Ian, and the lie in the rough is not that bad. He can get a lot of club face on the ball.
Looks like he might be trying one of those stingers with the 2-iron.
No.
This starting left and sliding a little bit, and will chase nicely down the fairway.
Well, he avoided all the bunkers, but he said to his caddy that club face was caught in the grass. He didn't get enough club face on the ball, and he's come up well short of the green. Depending on the lie, shouldn't be too much trouble from there to 16.
Jim Furyk dropped a shot at the last. This is second. Boy, manages this game so well. Hits it so straight off the tee. And that will trundle down behind the green, but that's okay. That's not bad from there. 16th, the third toughest hole on the golf course. 218.
Lauren Roberts' second shot.
103 yards. Breeze picking up again a little. Almost the same shot Nicklaus had earlier. It's a 9er.
Like that.
Roberts could birdie here, gets a 7 under, work his way into one of the last 3 groups tomorrow. It's 11 birdies here at 18. 7th toughest hole. 16 and 17 have only yielded 11 birdies combined, so the last 3 holes are tough. We go back to Tiger.
Tiger will be first to play. He's third. And has the wind got any different out there, Gary? Is it still a little left to right and hurting them?
It's picked up a little bit in strength. Still pretty much the same direction. It's getting a little bit cooler. You can just feel a little bit of bite in the wind now. But it's absolutely gorgeous. Compared to what you usually get in Scotland, it feels more like San Diego, really.
And what do you see with Tiger's swing? Gary, you've been out there all day with him. We've talked about how perfect it is, how perfect his fundamentals are. What strikes you as the most impressive thing?
Well, I first saw him when he was 15 years old in the LA Open, and, you know, obviously had a lot of talent and a lot of power then, but he was inaccurate, not quite as consistent, but he really now looks like the model, and I think we'll see so many young players try and emulate him. As we've talked about, his turn's perfect. He keeps a short arm swing. And however, you could put 1,000 people in the same positions that he's in, but they couldn't achieve the same sort of speed that he achieves through the ball. I think we're seeing the best athlete ever to play golf.
I think that's a very good point, that he's not only a golfer, but he's an athletic young man, very, very strong.
You know, Ian, we've already seen somebody who is copying him exactly, and that's Adam Scott, the young kid. Now, he doesn't create the speed like Gary says, but his swing is just identical to Tiger. All the mannerisms, putting, chipping, everything.
He's got a little pitch here, about 50, 60 yards. Got to try and guess how the ball will bounce and release.
How tight that fairway is. Like it's sitting on top of the hard pan.
If you're really confident with your lob wedge off those sorts of lies, you can really put some juice on the ball. Second bounce, really check up quickly.
Very professional.
Putting a little bit uphill, back into the breeze. Another good birdie chance. Ahead to 16.
Jim Furyk missed his attempt from behind the green. Now Lehman for his. Right in the heart. So the former champion at Lytham moves to 6 under after having missed the last two cuts that he's played in here at the Open Championship. So the first page of the leaderboard, there are no unfamiliar names. They're all chasing the #1 player in the world.
We're back at the 14th. The hole is known as the long hole, 581-yard par 5. The second of the par 5s here. Only 2 5s, the 5th and the 14th. 2 3s, 8 and 11. 14 par 4s.
Ian, he couldn't have an easier putt. Slightly back up the hill, almost dead straight.
A little bit into the breeze as well, which gives you a little more confidence to hit it firm, keep it on line. Birdied the 1st, the 4th, the 5th, the 9th, and the 12th to be 5 under. And unusually, both playing partners aren't playing too well. Nick Price at 3 over for the championship, and David Gossett, after a 6 at 13, is 5 over.
You know, Tiger's opponents are playing partners. Scoring average is not very good.
They're not handling the that extra little bit of pressure so well. I thought Pricey'd do well here too. Good driver of the ball, played well a couple of weeks ago. .34. Tiger Woods, 11 under par. Thank you, linesman. Thank you, ball boys. Steve Williams is going to wear out his knuckles. The amount of fist punching these guys do every time he makes. Maybe they'll have to start doing it only on eagles or something.
I think you need to slap the smile off Stevie's face.
Well, you see Lauren Roberts got to 7 under. He did birdie the last after that nice second shot. And here is the putt for 33 on the front, 35 on the back. Round of 68 for Lauren Roberts. After bogeying the first hole of the championship, 8 under sits, 7 under. He joins Sergio and Steve Flesh. Steve Flesh, who finished his second round 4 weeks ago, or just seems that way. It's 6:25 local time here in Scotland. Tiger is extending that lead now by 3. He heads off to the long par 4 15th. David Toms is the man in solo second and would be in line to play with Woods tomorrow. Unless somebody hops up, it would be a Tom Lehman birdie finish, or Harrington, who has some holes left, including the par 5 14th. Nick Faldo's held it together nicely. Jeff Sluman bogeyed the last, but had a very good day. He made his move on the front, shooting 32 to get him off the cut line and into a tie for 17th with Duval and Love and Faldo and Steve Jones, Paul Azinger as well. Montgomery hits the group at 3 under par. Just like day one, Monty did not putt exceptionally well. Yesterday, he missed a couple of 2-footers. Parnevik, despite the hip injury, at 2 under, around for the weekend. Mark O'Mara, 2 under as well. How about Christy O'Connor Jr. at age 51? Plays the U.S. Senior Tour. Ryder Cup star, often partnering with our colleague Mr. Alice for the European side. Lionel Alexandre from France, his caddy is the same caddy that Jean Van de Velde had last year at the Open Championship. Now the evens are starting to feel a little bit better about being here for the weekend because the cut line is moved. We have 77 players at even par or better, with 62 of them at 1 under, so it looks as though the even pars are in good shape. The 1-overs have a very small chance of making the cut, and although it's become insignificant now, the Tigers got to 11 under, there's no more 10-shot rule in the British Open. And there is Mr. Woods on the tee, leading by 3.
The big cottage bunker, not really an issue today. He has to watch out, though, for Sutherland.
We're not talking David or Kevin on the PGA Tour. David's in the field, but we're talking about the bunker. That sits out there like a catcher's mitt, 262 away.
Wind again from the left.
Bounding hard, clear the crosswalk.
That was impressive, Mike.
Wow. $11 birdies, 21 pars in A position at 15. 17.
Tom Lehman on the tee, and you can see just on the right side of your screen there, the Old Course Hotel. He has to hit it over one of those words, depending on, I'd say for Tom, over hotel would be the best word to hit it over. Drawing it right to left. Absolutely perfect. Center of the fairway. And back at 11, the young Irishman, Porrick Harrington. 180 yards today. Harrington at 6 under. Going with a 7-iron. And will it stay up on the right level? Not bad there. And Tiger running up the fairway at 15. Looks relaxed and calm. As well he might. He's 3 ahead. We're back at the 17th tee. Jim Furyk just hitting it over those words there. Thanks, Curtis. Straight over the old railway sheds. Left to right breeze, little left to right shape in his shot. Right there beside Tom Lehman. Right in the mayor's office. Now, back at 11, Porrick Harrington for a birdie. How's he been playing, Judy?
Well, I've just picked him up here for a couple of holes and missed the putt at 9. Had a real good chance to make birdie at 10 and did not. Hit a pretty iron shot in here.
Good-looking swinger, Porrick Harrington. I know Gary Smith was telling us a story about him the other night, how Nick Faldo helped him out early in his career. But we'll head back over to 17. Nota Begay's third shot from right of the road. Oh, that was pretty tasty. Well, he's made amends for yesterday where he made a 7 here. We'll have a tap in for a 4. And that is the view. The Air Force Base over there in the distance, Lucas. The 17th hole there. There's the road bunker. The road. That's where it gets its name from. The Old Course Hotel there at the left. Furyk about to play. Under par. Just draw it back into the breeze, try and land it short, bounce it up. Nice little break there. They could quite easily have rolled down the slope onto that white gravelly path. Good chance for a birdie 3. We don't see many of those, only 10 so far in 2 days of golf here. And Sandy Lyle, the 1985 champion, about to play his second.
Knocking it down. Okay.
Now we're going to have Tom Lehman first. From the fairway. Tom Lehman's 6 under.
I think the wind is pretty much straight across.
And this shot sets up absolutely perfectly for Tom Lehman. Right to left player of the ball will start it at the crane on the right there. Draw it back into the breeze. He can probably land it right up on top, going back with a draw into that left to right wind. Flagstick in that position. Well, it's safe. It's not often you can hit the shot 30 yards from the hole and actually accept it. But you accept it there. And back down there in the shadows. Sandy Lyle next to play. Sandy not having much of a day. 6 over par. Good drive, though. Blew it all the way up onto the top shelf, leaving himself about 45 feet for a birdie 3. But his championship is over, but for the putt there and one more hole to 15.
Big Price, second shot.
From 148 yards, the little 8.
After the birdie at 14, Nick's at 2 over, needs a couple on the way in. And we've detailed how difficult birdies are to come by at a stretch of holes.
Well, Woods will be next after a mammoth drive.
Give me the number we had on 9.
That's perfect for here. Yeah. That's slightly in the
Green here slopes away from him and to the right, so where he wants to land his ball is in this position right there, and it'll funnel down to the right. But with such a short iron, maybe could fly it more into the green than most. Flew it well into the green, flew it all the way to the hole, but okay. Once again, long is okay here. Long so you putt back up the hill.
Coming off the birdie at the 14th. When Tiger has won 2 of his 3 majors, it is very solid putting. And here at the British Open, with the way these greens are, you have a chance to be aggressive and make some putts in certain spots. There's a birdie at 1 today. After birdie at 4, another one at the 5th. Then at 9 to go out in 32. Remember the Western Open, when the putter was just slightly off? It's mostly on here thus far this week.
He's on. He was off a little bit everywhere in the Western Open, but anytime you win a major championship, you have to putt well. I don't care how good you are.
And the absence of 3 putts defined the Masters and the U.S. Open recently. Could be the same story here.
We're back at the 17th. Tom Lehman for a birdie. Not a lot of movement in his putt from where he was coming from. Excellent lag putt from about 30 yards. Ahead 1 to 18.
And Nota Begay, who came very close to being the 18-hole leader for the triple bogey finish. 4 over his last 2 yesterday. Hard the road hole today at 2 under. A good second shot here at the last. Go to 1 over for his round. The U.S. Women's Open is coming up next from Gurnee, Illinois at the Merritt Club. Second round action. Meg Mallon yet to tee off as a 1-shot lead over Kari Webb. Shot 69 yesterday, is even par today. Christy Kern, Pat Hurst, 3 off the pace. Julie Inkster yet to start. She's a couple off. Coverage coming up right after we're done on ESPN here this afternoon. 17.
Now we saw Jim Furyk play a beautiful second shot in here. Got a little lucky to stay up there on the top shelf, but has this for a birdie 3. This hole yesterday averaged 4.84, today averaging 4.55. Hardest hole on the course both days. In fact, it averages a little easier than the par 5 fifth. Comes a little downhill from there. That's the high part of the green. Jim started his day at 3 under, 2 under on his round. And a par 4. I know Ernie Els said there yesterday after he got it up and down out of the road hole bunker, he said if you can make 4 4s on this hole, you'll pick up at least a couple of shots on the rest of the field and you'd be very pleased with yourself at the end of the week. Back to 15.
And Tiger for birdie yet again. He's 8 under through 36 holes at the U.S. Open. Obviously, you can't compare scores, the setup of Pebble Beach and here, but just the way he's playing. Sending the early message and following it up and putting pressure on the field, as was said a hole or two ago, to let them know that every shot they make is even more important because he may add another birdie every time he gets to a tee.
That's twice in the... We'll see to leave it short. 13 right in the jaws. It's twice in the last 2 holes. Can't make them all, though. You know, you think you can and you want to think you can. You have to think like that, but you can't make them all.
Stress-free tap-in. Woods at 11 under. He continues to remain bogey-free for the week.
Very methodical. You know, just makes it look easy.
Let's go back to the 14th now.
Now Nick Faldo has this putt for a birdie 4. He started his round at 2 under, is 4 under for the championship. Playing alongside Gary Player, who's not playing so well, but at 12 over, one of the oldest men in the field, to 18.
Tom Lehman and Jim Furyk both made their pars at 17. Now Tom's on the tee at the last.
On the days you don't have a following wind and you can't get on, you just aim right there at the clock, right at the edge of the clubhouse.
And as you can tell from the number of divots in that area, that's been one of the popular spots today. It's 238 to carry the road that runs through the middle. Give you an idea how far the guys are hitting it here at 18. I thought it was interesting what you said before. We talk about the wind so often, and even when you have a little bit of wind, 8 or 10 miles per hour in the States, it has maybe less of an effect because this wind is a little heavier.
Well, we have
spots in the States.
Well, we have such light winds now in the summer. Everybody back home playing, the ball travels through the wind. It's hot. Here it's a damp, has a lot of moisture in it, and the ball doesn't go at all into the wind.
See that in San Diego often when the tour goes there.
San Diego, the AT&T up at Carmel.
See Jim Furyk, one bounce then off the road, and in good shape. Up on the green, let's see if Nota Begay can finish with a birdie.
Well, it's easy to tell with Nota. It's a left to right breaker putt because he's putting it left-handed.
Nota Begay's quote yesterday that we showed you about how excited he was to play in this championship, the one major he was looking forward to, so significant because he wanted to play at St. Andrews and be a part of his first British Open, just adding to the experience. 16T.
Hold those cameras, folks. Thank you.
And that is Tiger's major championship wins. Incredible to think that he could first win by 12 and then win the U.S. Open by 15.
Needs to keep it left. There is out of bounds down the right. The other issue is the principal's nose grouping of bunkers, and he's played well short of those. Perfectly in the middle of the fairway.
It's about 250 to the bunkers Gary just mentioned, and in addition to all his other strengths, I think his course management is second to none. 218.
Get another look at Tom Lehman's drive, thanks to our friends at the BBC. See it from a different angle as Tom starts it off the clock, right to left.
Went in the same place again, too.
Isn't that remarkable?
I tell you.
All right, 16 from up above.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of 18. Let's take a look at 16. Corner of the dike. Out of bounds all down the right side of the fence. And because of the out of bounds, most of the players into the wind will play it left of the principal's nose right there. Lay up with a 3-wood, maybe a long iron. And then after that, back into the wind, 4, 5, or 6 iron. But the angle here gets difficult because you're coming back against the green over those bunkers. You have a big swale in front of this green, another swale in front of another green. Today's hole location all the way, see the swale in the back right up against it.
Come back up to the 18th. Lee Westwood, his putt for birdie. Thought for a moment Westwood may have had something going earlier today. Had it to 3 under, but he makes birdie at 15 and birdie at 18. Not going to find many players playing the last 4 and 2 under. 2 rounds of 2 under 70, and Lee Westwood is not hidden his lack of fondness for St. Andrews. Is at 4 under, but that's 7 behind Tiger in the lead by 3 at the 129th British Open from St. Andrews. Second at the 18th for Jim Furyk. 5 under, 6 back.
Thinned it right in the belly. Get Allen.
That hill in the back, and there it does help stop the ball. If it keeps going, then the fence, it's out of bounds, so.
That's just a big mental error. You don't see guys do that very often, miss-hit it that much.
Tom Lehman's second shot here at 18. Talked about him missing the cut the last couple of Opens. Remember the injury that he suffered a few years ago when playing with his kids at one of the amusement parks in Blackpool. Nice shot there from Tom. Chance to join the 7 unders. We'll put him in third to last group for tomorrow. Harrington's still a factor out there in terms of that. We go back to the 16th.
And the amateur champion, Gary, will be next to play.
Yes, he's had a bit of a rough day today, but I think we're going to see a lot more from him. It's been very intimidating for him to play with the best player from the 90s, and then Tiger. Just over 200 yards left here. This needs to settle down a little bit. Should be okay. Very close to the out of bounds.
We've seen a number of balls go that way today because of the wind. And now Tiger.
I believe Nick is going to play first, Steve. And indeed he is. Nick Price next to play. 199 yards to the hole. Bringing this in very low, trying to chase it in. This could be magical. Oh, that's a wonderful shot. One of the world's best shot makers.
Too little too late, I'm afraid.
And now Tiger, 196 yards to the hole. It'll be interesting to see if he too takes the low route and tries to run one in there, or whether he decides to fly it all the way. This coming in very high. Could be superb.
Easy. Easy.
Such a firm green, Steve. Couldn't hit it any higher or with any more spin, but still couldn't keep it on that firm green.
He actually struck it too well. He's not in any real trouble back there, though. Back at 12.
At the par 4, this is the second shot for Padraig Harrington. Remember, this hole's only 314 yards.
Ran his tee shot right by the hole on the way over the green. 2-putted here for birdie yesterday.
Stay there, yep. Harrington will have that putt to get to 7 under, 17.
And from the road, Paul Azinger. Little back foot shot, make sure he hits the ball first. Not a bad shot there from Zinger. You can really get disaster from that place to 18.
You see Jim Furyk's third shot.
Played from a very steep lie, put the ball back, way back in your stance, but had to come up short because you see what's just beyond the Valley of Sin, and you don't want to blast it down into that hole.
Jim will have that putt to stay at 5 under. That's 13th place right now, but it's also a half dozen shots behind our leader, Tiger Woods. For a 200 par round of 70. And the mistake with the second shot will cost Jim 1. He'll drop back to join Duval, Love, Westwood, Sluman, Jones at 4 under, 17.
Azinger for par. 93 PGA champ. Nearly won here in 87 at Muirfield when Nick Faldo beat him. Be a bogey 5 at the road hole for Zinger. Back at 16.
Well, statistically, this is the first green he's missed all day. I think he's missed it by some total of about 12 inches here. As he's just in the fringe. It's hard to differentiate the fringe and the green sometimes. In fact, there are referees that walk with every match, and they've warned players to be careful marking their ball if you're near the edge of the green, because you may be on the fringe and just can't tell it.
Tiger will have that putt for par. For those of you who are tuning in to watch the U.S. Women's Open, the 4 hours of coverage from the Merritt Club in Gurnee, Illinois, that will be coming up as soon as Tiger Woods finishes. We'll watch Tiger play 17 and 18. The timekeeper here in St. Andrews, the famed clock on the RNA Clubhouse says just past 7 local time, 2 in the East Coast, 11 on the West Coast. Let's take a look at the leaderboard from outside of Chicago in Gurnee, Illinois. Meg Mallons, 4 under par, still atop the leaderboard, but Kari Webb and another Aussie, Shani Waugh, at 3 under, a shot back. Julie Inkster, the defender, 2 back. Christy Kerr and Pat Hurst have had good days already, and the players who haven't started you will obviously see in the coverage that comes up with our friend Dan Hicks and company in a little bit from the Merritt Club. So plenty of major championship golf this afternoon, this morning, and this evening on ESPN. Woods by 3 over David Toms, who shot 67 today. Sergio Garcia shot 69. Warren Roberts, Fred Couples, both shooting rounds of 68. was Jean Van de Velde, after all the talking he's had to do about the 99 British Open, tied for 13th after 36 holes of the 2000 Open. So as you look through the players who are in the top 27, let's take you back to some action from earlier today. Fred Couples tied Ernie Els for a little while, went out in 32, 4 under par. Birdied 14 and birdied 15 to get to 8 under, but made a double at the 16th, and that's what has Freddie after his round of 68 today. Phil Mickelson was chasing a little bit of history, had a chance to be the first player in the history of the British Open, 129 years, to shoot under 30 on the inward 9, because he made a birdie, an eagle, then 3 birdies in a row. Mickelson shot 30 on the way in 66. Warren Roberts had a 4 under par round of 68 today. Had the putter going, especially in the middle of the round. Roberts is at 7 under. That was his birdie at the 18th. Steve Flesch, who for a long time led yesterday after his 5 under on day 1, 2 under on day 2. Thanks in large part to that eagle at the par 5 14th. Flesch shot 70. Garcia had a little bit of magic around the greens, and Sergio also putted very well. 68 day 1, 69 day 2, including that birdie at the 7th. Garcia had a good stretch, birdie 10 and 12 as well. David Toms, when he has it going, usually keeps it together. 1 from the lead after 36 holes, his 2 tour victories last year. A birdie today at 9, 1 of the 5 he made in shooting 67. And Tiger has simply been on. All facets of the game, a few poorly hit shots, mostly excellent shots, and good putting. Second shot at the par 4 4th today. Making the spectacular look routine at the 14th. The par 5, this 4. Birdie number 6 on the day, 11 on the week. Tiger's 11 under par, but history may record day 2 of the 2000 Open as the day that Jack said goodbye to St. Andrews. Left the door open about possibly returning when the Open comes back here in 2005. But the magical moment as he crossed the Swilcan Bridge, almost made birdie at 18. That short par putt with his son as his caddy. And tears in his eyes at different points on 17 and 18. A fond farewell. Tom Lehman at the 18th. This for birdie. Oh, could have gotten Tom to 7 under. So he'll likely make par here at the last and finish at 6 under. The road hole, 17.
And the most famous hole in golf, right here. 17th, 455-yard par 4. Players take their driver or 3-wood over those buildings, avoiding the Old Course Hotel there in the left side of our screen. And the best player in the world at the moment, playing the best hole, Tiger Woods with a 3-wood.
The wind is still from the left in, as it has been over all these closing holes, making this perhaps even a little bit scarier tee shot than normal.
You're right, Gary. You know that if you miss-hit it at all, the left to right wind will eat it up and shoot it out to the right, but Scott doesn't miss-hit many.
That's exactly what you aim over. Old Course Hotel. If it's a right to left breeze, you aim over the word hotel. Left to right breeze over the word old. If you just want to drill it low with a driver or a good hard 3-wood like Tiger, probably over the center of it. And if you do hit it a long way through the air, it's surprising how far right you can go and still carry the wall.
It actually cuts back quite a bit, but it's so intimidating standing on the tee, you don't believe it. Every time you play, you stand there and say, can't go to the right at all.
Have you ever been sitting in the conservatory there, Curtis, when you've heard a ball land on the roof there? I have. It's
no, I've been standing on that tee watching my ball hit the roof.
Oh, okay.
Well, the gentleman at the corner that controls traffic here has just given the fellas on the tee the green flag, saying that the fairway is now clear.
There you see how the road does cut back to the right.
Got it.
Perfect. to 18.
Tom Lehman's par putt. Slightly disappointed, but he shoots 70. The 96 champ. Rounds of 68 and 70. Els, Mickelson, Couples, Lehman, Bjorn. All in at 6 under par. Harrington's out there at 6 under, and so is Gordon Brand Jr. 3 under for the day. Furyk finishes with a disappointing bogey. And we mentioned that group that Jim drops back to, the 4 under pars. Back to 17T.
Nick Price about to play his shot here. He's chosen the driver.
Well, certainly over the last 10 or 12 years, been one of the best drivers of the ball in the world, if not the best there for quite some time.
Nick Price missed his short putt there at 16. He's 3 over par.
Greg Norman would have fit in that category for many years. Best driver of the golf ball. He and Nick Price, he was long and very straight.
I agree. Actually, I think Greg worked the ball a bit better than Nick does. Nick was long and straight, good trajectory, but Greg used to be able to draw it and fade it at will.
It's called talent to be able to do that, right?
Oh, yeah, strength and talent. Wish I had it. And there we leave you. The 17th hole, Tiger Woods there at 11 under. He leads by 3. We're back at the 13th, the par 4, and Porrig Harrington. Judy, what's he got?
A perfect tee shot, 174 yards in. He has taken a 6-iron and I think has to hit it pretty well with the wind coming back from the left.
With the wind coming from left to right on these incoming homecoming holes, I should say. You really can fade it in nicely and get at these hidden hole locations over on the right sides of the greens. And Porrig Harrington playing beautiful golf. To 18.
Hazinger's 3rd at the par 4. Let's go back to 16 for a second.
And Faldo's second shot here. He's avoided the bunkers from the tee, but he's played it to the left, which makes it a harder angle of approach. The bunker that we saw Freddie Couples in yesterday. Hopefully he gets a little bit better lie than that.
Boy, I tell you, that just trickled in. He won't be very far at all from the face of that bunker.
Faldo not too happy with that one. To 17 now, and David Gossett, US amateur champion, to play first.
Young Gossett from the light rough, 193 yards to the hole with a little bit of wind from the left, facing the most demanding second shot in golf to a par 4.
Well, he has to play front right because his angle is shooting right at the hole. Very shallow green he's shooting from the angle. But in his position, he's probably going right at it. Now he is basically dead. To get it close to the hole.
DE, maybe 2 Ds at the end from there. That is really dead.
Nick Price will be next to play. 186 yards to the hole. Again, a short follow-through, which would indicate he's trying to chase it in there. And again, a lovely low running shot.
Perfectly played, exactly what you're supposed to do on this hole. Unfortunately, a little bit too late for Nick. 3 over par.
Now Tiger, 183 yards to the hole. Has to be very careful here not to spoil a great round. Looked like he went with a big 6, maybe even a 7. Could catch the road.
I tell you, it got real lucky to get on that patch of grass. You can get a 60-degree wedge to it.
Very difficult if he stays on the shells, the crushed shells right there, or the hard pan blacktop behind him.
I was a little surprised with the club selection. I thought from there that he might have gone with the little chaser, you know?
I think he was so close to the green, like Gary said, either a hard 7 or 6. I think he's so long, and that's one of the advantages on this hole. He can fly it in the middle of the green and stop it.
Well, we talk all the time about the difficulty of this 17th hole. There's 42 players have hit it on the green in 2. They've averaged even more than par. That's a fair indication for you. In the bunker, 6 players, 3 up and downs, 3 not, averaging 4.5. And on the road, over there on the right of the green, 14 players, averaging 4.83. Hardest hole on the course, average of 4.53 today. Yesterday, average of 4.84.
I think it's about par, 4.53, because I think it's a 4.5 par.
Yeah, 2 4s, 2 5s isn't too bad at the end of the week.
You're exactly right.
Maybe this young fella's got the right idea. Ooh. Well, he's trying to chase it up. See, he's got that little low follow through. He's a true Scot. He's not finishing up high. You watch this. Oh, yep. 16 now.
Faldo right up against the lip of the bunker and did well to get it out. He was looking at all sorts of options, none of which was very good. Came here 4 under and has that left for par to 17.
Just hop in with a quick reminder here, Ian. The Women's Open is coming up next. Kari Webb has made a birdie. She's tied with Meg Mallon for the lead there at 4 under par. You'll see Meg. Julie Inkster as well as a couple back when the coverage starts as soon as Mr. Woods finishes at 18.
There's some great competition there in Chicago. Wonderful golf town. Lots of great courses. Chicago Golf Club, we played there a couple of weeks ago. Sensational old course. Not quite as good as this one, though, but not far behind. David Gossett playing first from over there, short of the road bunker.
That's about as good as he could do from that.
And that's what can happen. You can try and get your second shot so close on this hole, but the disaster awaits. Short left in that bunker, long right over here on the road where Tiger is.
Well, I went over and had a look at the lie, and it's not awful, but the ground underneath is really baked, and it's very, very hard, which is going to make it difficult for him to slide a sand wedge underneath the ball and hit a high soft shot. He's got a sand wedge out, but he may be looking at bumping it forward into the bank or just carrying the bank, but he can't hit a big flop shot.
The option he might have too, Gary, is maybe using the edge of the bunker and running it back towards the hole like a little backboard.
Very possibly. He's got the face just a little bit open.
Ooh. He's doing just that.
And that might work out okay.
Yeah, smart play.
Great imagination.
That's exactly what he tried to do. That obviously wasn't lying very well. He didn't try the Phil Mickelson high lob soft one. And good smart play. He figures he's got a chance of holding that 10 or 12 footer to retain the 3-shot advantage.
Hold the towel there, Stevie, please.
We talk about Phil Mickelson and the flop shot. Tiger Woods pretty good at it himself. It's just that we've become so accustomed to seeing Phil do it. And he said earlier in his interview with Carl Ravitch that you can't play it here because the ground's so hard, so baked. As Gary used the analogy, it's baked, it's hard, it's crusty. And no matter how open you lay the face of the lob wedge, it still bounces. Gossett now putting for par 4. Whatever happens, it's been a great experience for him. Playing with Nick Price and Tiger Woods in the Millennium Open. And just another bogey at the 17th. Back to 13.
Harrington for his birdie. Still hanging around. Oh, but he's missed a lot of makeable putts today.
Now we're back at the 17th, and Nick Price has this, well, Outside chance of a birdie 3. Wonderful iron shot he played in. You see the face of that bunker that everyone tries to avoid. It is straight up and down, and it's about 6.5, 7 feet deep. Nick needs to knock this one in and make 2 at the last to finish even par if he's going to have any chance. I don't see the cut going out to 1 over unless something drastic happens. And a par 4. 77 players at even or better. That's 64 players at 1 under, so more than likely even par will be the cut. Back in 1995 it was 149. A little bit more wind that year though. 149, of course, 5 over par, 72 the par here.
I think Tiger's pairing with Nick Price has been very beneficial today, especially with some of the very long waits on the tees. You really couldn't play with anybody better than Nick Price on a day like today. Actually said 149. 149 missed by 1. I apologise. Back in 95 it was 148. 4 over par was the cut-off mark. Tiger has yet to make a bogey in this championship. So this putt to retain the no blemishes on the card. Five holes without a bogey for Woods. He leads by 3 going to the home hole. What a performance.
Looks like the U.S. Open, Ian. Not only did he play well and make a lot of birdies, but he saved all of his par putts.
Grinding it, isn't he?
He can grind. That's a bad combination for everybody else when you've got a smart fella, a grinder who has a lot of talent.
Oh, boy. He's got it all. Okay, Mike.
Here at the last, from that grandstand, that's one of the great places to sit, that grandstand. You can kind of peer over at the action at one green, 18 tees right in front of you, and you get to watch.
Man, I wanted to make that so bad, too. I think I already made 3 birdies on that hole.
The excitement and the drama of the road hole as well. There's Nick Price sharing a word with David Gossett. They stand to the side, and Woods tees it up at the last.
He has the driver out, Mike, again with the wind from the left. Spectacular hole with the buildings surrounding this hole.
Got. There you go, man. Beauty, Tiger. Again, one.
Low and go.
Looks like he cut off his follow-through to keep it low again. A little punch with the driver.
So Woods by 3 over David Toms. Will play his second from there here at the par 4 18th. As we mentioned, our coverage will switch to the U.S. Women's Open as soon as we are done watching Tiger play the 18th. Let's get an update on what's been happening at the Merritt Club just outside of Chicago. And for that update, let's check in with Dan Hicks. Dan.
Okay, thank you, Mike Tirico. Another beautiful day here in Gurnee, Illinois. Second round underway. You mentioned Kari Webb with a birdie at the par 5/8. That was her 17th hole of the day to tie Meg Mallon for the lead. This was Kari Webb's final hole, the par 4 9th for par. So she'll accept her second bogey of the day and fall a shot behind Meg Mallon, who just teed off a moment ago. Mallon looking for her second U.S. Women's Open title, and Julie Inkster looking for back-to-back Open titles. She begins the day just 2 shots behind Meg Mallon. So that's the story here at the Merritt Club. Mike, back to you across the pond at St. Andrews.
All right, Dan, sounds like an exciting leaderboard and a good day of action ahead. We'll send you to Gurnee, Illinois, just as soon as Tiger holes out here at the last man who's won 7 USGA championships. Interesting, he was asked this week about the career Grand Slam and putting that in perspective, how important it would be. And it's one of those things that afterwards I think his answer will change. But he said to him, still the most impressive thing is the 3 U.S. juniors.
Because there's an age limit there.
And the differences between at the start of the window and the end of the window for the junior, how much your golf game and your maturity, your body changes in those teen years. To him, he said, and the match play, the vagaries of match play on top of that.
Well,
and he says that's his most impressive accomplishment in his own mind.
The junior championship is match play as well as the amateur championship, and I don't care who you are or how well you play, match play is match play. Anybody can beat anybody on a given day. The part of match play that's what you have to do is that you have to rise to the occasion every match. He's been able to do it so far.
And we saw that with Darren Clark this year against Tiger in the match play. Darren Clark not in the top 10 in the world at that point, still isn't. Clark's actually having a good championship here. He's 5 under and 6 behind Woods. Let's check some of the other things that are happening around St. Andrews. Steve has the call, the par 4 16. Mr. Melnick.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Fowler, remember, bunkered and played his approach putt to here. And like that, Fowler walks away with double bogey. He got to 5 under par after his 9th hole. It looked like he was going to make a run and maybe contend. But the bogey at 11 and now the double at 16 drops him back to 2 under. And let's go to the fabulous home hole.
First tee is right in front of the RNA clubhouse. 120 yards of shared fairway there, and it's a very few majors where you'd see the grandstand to the right of the first tee, still with plenty of people in there, 3.5 hours after the last starting time. Mark O'Meara is up on the green. The 98 champ has a par putt coming up. Mark got off to a very good start yesterday. He was dropped back today with bogeys at 2 and 7 and 12 and 15. He's at 1 under for the championship. And he'll be around for the weekend. Mark hasn't won since his British Open 2 years ago. Winner of the playoff with Brian Watts at Birkdale. It's incredible the moments that we've seen in the last few years at the British Open. And that British Open specifically, Justin Rose, Brian Watts had their great moments. Justin Rose failed in his attempt to qualify for this Open. And even though Brian Watts was in the playoff 2 years ago, he wasn't eligible for this British Open. Would have had to come over for final qualifying, but didn't because he's had an injury-plagued season on the PGA Tour, sick, had some other problems, and he's just trying to get his footing back in terms of his game. And the investment to come over and do it, he didn't think would have been beneficial in the long run. For Ulrich Johansson, 3 under today, and shoots 69. Playing for the Swede. With the trendy cap as well.
Is that what you call it?
Sure.
Certainly not keeping his sun off his forehead, is it?
Yoshihara Amano from Japan, 1 over, even though he shot 68. Bryce is second.
That was from 97 yards.
Down.
Tough for Nick, especially after he played well in Chicago. Was looking forward to this championship.
Young Gossett will be next. Just 67 yards left to the hole. I'm sure he'd love to finish with a good one here in front of this immense gallery.
He has a sandwich out. He's going to try to fly it on the green and keep it around the hole. Thought from this distance he'd run it in. You know, he's done that a couple of times a day, and I have no idea what he's doing. He's right in his follow-through. When the ball's in the air, he looks at his grip. I don't know.
Tiger will be next. He has a perfect angle in here Just 54 yards left. It's got the sand wedge out. This looks like it has a lot of spin on it.
Could he bring it back?
That's the safe play. I thought he'd go down low and run it in just to try to get it a little bit closer than that, but 3-shot lead, you don't have to at this point.
Tiger leads by 3. We'll step aside for 60 seconds, watch Tiger play the 18th, and send you to the Merit Club for the U.S. Women's Open. Plenty of golf. Stay tuned here on ESPN.